Oh, hello brunch, welcome to the stream. I'll play some Crossy Road as we wait for more viewers. Put Lynn on top. No way. Lynn is pretty good, but she can be countered by breaking cards, so there's no way I'm putting Lynn on top. Though Lynn is extremely strong if the opponent doesn't have the negate. It's almost an automatic win even against water units. Is my voice clear? Hello, welcome and welcome to the stream. Let's just rush this. Slick maneuver. Oh no! No way! I misclicked. I was supposed to go back. Now I'll try to speedrun it. Oh no, no. Alright, this time for sure. Let's beat the high score. Okay, we're already a third of the way there. After I lose this run, I'll just start the tier list. We've delayed it for long enough. Oh, I'm almost going to beat the high score. No! No! No, 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 no! Alright, let's just begin the tier list stream now. Yo, Fen, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so in order to make this tier list as accurate as possible, I've set up a criteria on how to rate the units. So I'll just not randomly put Kamael in the SS tier because I think Kamael is really OP. That's going to be unfair for the hero. So this will be our criteria. First, we have the raw power. So it will be rated from 1 to 10. So basically what raw power means is how strong the hero is when fighting other units in a dogfight, in a straight up dogfight. So like no moving. Literally you can use everything. For example, your Lilith, your debuff is counted. But the opponent, we'll just imagine that the opponent will not dodge. And basically this is how likely your that unit is likely to win the match. So basically it's a battle of stats, how strong their base stats is compared to other heroes and how strong their overall kit is for dog fighting. So for outplay potential here, we're going to talk about how easy it is for the unit to outperform another unit in a negative matchup, or I'll also take into account how easy it is to outplay the unit. So for example, Lapice is a very good example here. So Lapice has a very good outplay potential with her movement speed and 2-hit chain if you're able to hit everything. But her movement speed is based on if the opponent hits you. So if the opponent actually has a choice of not hitting you, so you're not going to be able to get her movement speed, which will reduce her points in outplay potential since her kit is easily abusable. Another example of hero with bad outplay potential is Rue. So Rue's weapon skill cannot really chain the opponent. Muted. Wait, can you guys hear me? Hello? Am I actually muted? No replies. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Alright, you can hear me. Thank you. We're talking about outplay potential, right? So for outplay potential, I'll also explain this. Like Rue's weapon skill is very bad. Like it's impossible to chain with Rue's weapon skill if the opponent knows how to dodge. You just have to run away from it and you'll never get chained even if she uses all of her weapon skills the entire game, right? So basically Rue has a very low outplay potential since if you cannot win the dogfight, you cannot win the game. So that's it for outplay potential. So versatility. For versatility, we're talking about how many team comps a unit can be placed at and perform well at. So like the example of heroes with bad versatility is of course Rue, Arabelle, Garam, those heroes with elemental party buff, since you have to put them in a mono element team in order to get their full potential, right? And a good example of heroes with high versatility are units like Noxia with hybrid damage and a universal party buff, HP, so you can basically put Noxia in almost any team comp and she will perform just fine. So stat and reliance. For stat and reliance, so there are units that how do I say that? There are units that are very dependent on stats. So like most of the time the units that are going to score high on stat and reliance are the units with a lot of outplay potentials. So because for example Arabelle, right? Your damage is not based on your dog fighting. So if you chain the opponent, even if you have a bit less stats than your opponent, even if your stats are worse, you can still win with Arabelle because if you chain them, they're dead anyway, unless the stat gap is very huge. Carol is an example of a unit with that will score very low in stat and reliance because Carol relies on killing the opponent as fast as possible before actually allowing them to chain, right? So if your Carol cannot kill the opponent before they chain you, your Carol is going to die. So instead that's what stat and reliance is. Now for the ease of execution, the reason I added this earlier because when I'm trying to rate these heroes, some units some units just scored really high, and I wanted to add a criteria here that will balance them a lot. So I'm actually making this tier list so some newer people can watch this video and then they can decide which heroes they want to use. So for example, right, let's say I put Arabelle somewhere in A+, right? So a beginner cannot just use Arabelle and perform as well as me as an A+ tier unit. So for example, of course, if you're just beginning the game, if you're going to use Arabelle, she's going to be right here. She's going to be a trash unit because actually Arabelle doesn't have a lot of her raw power is not that good. Most of her win condition relies on her outplay potential, and if an inexperienced player tries to use Arabelle for the first time, they will suck. So they will not be able to perform as well as I do with Arabelle. So that's why I put this ease of execution here in consideration. So the units that are harder to use will be somewhat lower, but it's just one part of the criteria, so it will not decide the champion's overall worth. It will mostly rely on these four. So this is just to balance it out. Now after we decide the points that the hero gets here, we're going to add them all up, and then if the score is 45 or above, they're going to be SS tier, 40 to 44 S tier, and so on. So yeah, that's basically it. People gonna ask me Lynn top. Well, I think Lynn is going to be pretty high on the list, but definitely not on the highest parts. So yeah, Lynn is pretty good. Let's just start now. Start with Yuze since she's first in the list. So Yuze's raw power. For her raw power, I think Yuze's dogfight is actually quite decent. The problem is her party buff is weapon skill regen speed, so that automatically makes her weaker than a lot of units if you try to dogfight. For example, you're dogfighting a full melee team. Even if Yuze has a pretty good dogfight capabilities on her own, her party buff just makes it so that she's automatically somewhat weaker. So in terms of raw power, I'll give Yuze's maybe a 6 out of 10. Now for the outplay potential, Yuze is actually very easy to outplay, unfortunately. Her weapon skill is not guaranteed to chain in 3 hits. If you just keep running away from Yuze, her weapon skill will not chain you in 3 hits. So once you dodge Yuze's third weapon skill, if you don't get chained by her third weapon skill, it's really easy to chain her and then just kill her. So I think Yuze's outplay potential is not that high. And since her dogfighting is pretty weak as well, you can't really use her weapon skill to just apply pressure to the opponent. So I think her outplay potential is going to be a 6 as well. Now for versatility, Yuze. Weapon skill regen speed comps are not really versatile, so most of the time we're forced to play something like Veronica, Oghma, or Veronica Marina, right, for mono water. So Yuze is not really that versatile actually. There are just a few comps that you can make her work, but still you can use her as a substitute for let's say Future Knight, as long as you're not running a range buff on your weapon skill regen speed comp, which you're not going to be doing most of the time. So I'll not rate her too low in versatility actually. I'll give her 6 as well. You just getting straight 6s here. For stat on reliance, Yuze actually relies a lot of, on stats. If you don't have stats as Yuze will not work. Weapon skill regen speed teams in general are really stat reliant because you're lacking some damage party buff, so a lot of the time, even if you chain the opponent, they will not die if they have a lot more stats than you. Hello Duzard, welcome to the stream. Yeah, so Yuze for stat reliance. Well, since she could actually play for weapon skill, I'll give her a 7 here. I don't think she's that stat reliant. Her kit doesn't require a lot of stats to work, but since her party buffs weapon skill regen speed, it does require a little bit of stats. No, we'll talk about Plitvice later. We're doing every single hero here on the list. So for ease of execution, Yuze, you just press the button and stick to the opponent. I think Yuze is really easy to use, actually. But her weapon skill, you kind of need to time it when your opponent is attacking, because if you just use your weapon skill while they're running, as I said earlier, you will not be able to chain in 3. So a lot of the time, you want to trade weapon skills with Yuze. So her ease of execution is pretty easy, but not that easy. I'll give it an 8. So we'll just add all of the scores together. So it says 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. Yeah, 33. Around 8 here. I think this is accurate, actually. With 33 points. Does anyone disagree? I think Yuze is a solid 8-tier unit. Yeah, I already streamed with the voice earlier, but this time I have a better microphone. Yeah. So moving on, we'll have Eleanor. Who the fuck is this? The reason why I put this in the list is because I don't want to rate the units that I rarely see. So Eleanor, right? I rarely even see Eleanor. The only times I saw Eleanor was on Master Arena. Sometimes 1v3 picks Eleanor against me when I used to ban MK99 and FP when Kamael and Arena didn't exist yet. So he'll just pick Eleanor against me, and because he has more stats, he just wins. But just based on that, I can't really rate this unit. I haven't used it. I haven't seen a lot of people use it. So I'm not going to rate Eleanor, unfortunately. I just put her there. Okay, MK99, the bane of my existence. The very first unit that I really hated. Fortunately, MK99 isn't that popular nowadays because Arena is the highest picked unit. Probably is the strongest Arena unit in the game right now, and MK99 just dies to Arena without doing anything. I've only seen one on a recent Lule video, never personally seen one. Yeah, that's right, because no one uses this unit for Arena. I know she's decent on Colosseum, and the few times I saw people use her on Arena, I actually can just outplay her because her weapon skill is trash. If I'm going to predict Eleanor's placement, she's going to be around the C or B tier. But I'm not gonna rate her because I don't have enough experience with her, so I just gotta put her there. So, going back to MK99, her raw power, I'll actually give this one a pretty high score. Maybe around an 8. MK99 is one of those units that are, I think, very poorly designed. Like, if you fight her with a melee unit, like for example, like FP will actually lose the dogfight against MK99 point blank. This is the annoying thing about this unit. They shouldn't have given her the passive that gives her bonus defense. Bonus defense when the opponent is nearby. It just makes her so tanky, and yeah, since she has bonus damage when the opponent is far away, the outplay should be to go on point blank range and try to beat her there, but because of that passive, you can't even do that either. So MK99's raw power is really quite high. I'll give it an 8. Now for outplay potential, MK99 doesn't really have a lot. Her weapon skill is kinda trash. I see a lot of MK99 users just waste their weapon skill. They just show it out of nowhere and then knowing that it will not hit anyway, which is wrong. I think MK99's weapon skill is very useful if you just hold it, so you can punish the opponents for getting close to you. So basically, how you use MK99, how you're supposed to use MK99 is, once you have your weapon skill, which is pretty fast actually. I think it's as fast as Kamael's or Lapice. I'm not sure, but it's really fast, faster than Arabelle. So once you have your weapon skill, just hold it and then pressure with your normal attacks. They won't be able to go near you as quickly because, as easily, because you have your weapon skill up. So that's the only play that MK99 can do. But unfortunately, if your stats are not enough to kill them with normal attacks, MK99 doesn't have a lot of outplay potential, so I'll just give her a 6 as well. Now for versatility, MK99 having a range buff can be used in a lot of range teams. You can go full range with tanks, etc. So there are a lot of variations of range teams, and because MK99 has a range buff, you can use her in almost all of those teams. So for versatility, I'll just give her an 8. I think most of the units with like range buff, midi buff, I'll just give them an 8 for versatility. Now, stat and reliance, as I said earlier, MK99 relies on stats. If you don't have stats as MK99, you just lose the game. There's nothing you can do. 5. Ease of execution, MK99 is one of the easiest units in the game. I'll actually give her a 10. Brain dead unit. I don't know why some players still mess up using MK99. All you have to do is use your second form, the long range gun, but don't actually use it for long range. Just walk up to your opponent then use it. Most of the time they will not be able to dodge, especially if one of you is playing at yellow ping. So yeah, MK99 is very easy to play. 10 points in ease of execution. So 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 5 plus 10. Yeah, MK99 got a 37, which is at the A plus tier. I think this is really good spot to put her. Unfortunately, she does get countered by Arena, but I didn't include that in the criteria, so just keep that in mind. MK99 is really strong in Master Arena if you can actually ban Arena out. But unless you can ban Arena, MK99 won't be that good. Now FP. This might be a little controversial because I think FP is not as good as she used to be. A lot of people still use her, a lot of people still call her OP. But I actually think FP has fallen from the meta. She's nowhere near how strong she used to be, actually. So in terms of raw power, I think FP is still a pretty good dog fighter as long as you have the stats. I'll give her an 8 on raw power as well, similar to MK99. FP can still win a lot of dogfights. Yeah, that's right. Since Arena came out, FP just fallen out of the meta because Arena is just too popular, but as long as you're not facing an Arena, FP is still pretty solid. But in the right team comp, I'm seeing a lot of players that use FP with range crit or double range, which is really bad. I don't really like seeing FP on those comps. Even double tank comps, I don't like double tank FP. I think because FP's main win condition is winning by her very strong normal attacks. You really need to play her with two offensive buffs. Now for outplay potential, FP has movement speed, so she can actually dodge shots more easier than other heroes. And she has a one-shot weapon skill, which a lot of players don't know how to use correctly. There are a lot of matchups where you don't use your weapon skill at all. You just hold it and then keep normal attacking the opponent as they're pressured from your... they don't want to get one-shot by your skill, right? FP is still usable if you have Beth or Lilith in team. Yeah, FP, Beth, Lilith is a pretty good team, actually. Yeah, that's a really good team. Actually, if... As I said, if you're using FP in a comp with double offensive buffs, she's going to be really good. For her outplay potential, I'll actually give her an 8. I think FP has a lot of ways to outplay opponents. I've beaten a lot of basic matchups with FP, even Arena, as long as they don't have a very huge stat gap against me. FP can actually deal a decent amount of damage against Arena, and sometimes even win against Arena if you have a little bit more stats than them. Now for versatility, FP has an HP party buff, which is automatically a plus. But as I said earlier, she's not really that good on comps outside of double offensive buffs because she doesn't have she can't apply enough pressure with her normal attacks. Like if I see a double tank FP, I think it's a free win. Like for example, even if I'm playing Monodark with Arabelle, if the FP doesn't have two offensive buffs, she just loses. So FP is not really that versatile right now in terms of team building. I think you need to put her on an offensive team, but that doesn't mean that you cannot put her on more defensive comps. Her party buff is still universal, so I'm not going to downplay that very much. I'll just give her an 8 there. Now for stat and reliance, unfortunately FP now needs quite a lot of stats to make her work. Because if you don't have a lot of stats, you lose dogfight against a lot of the newer units. Like even if they go triple damage, right, they don't have tanks. If you don't have enough stats, you cannot kill them on time and you'll just lose. So I'll give her a 7. I don't think she's that stat reliant, but she's pretty stat reliant. Now for ease of execution, FP. A lot of noobs think FP is easy to play. FP is not easy to play actually. FP is a little hard to play. Optimally, if you want to play FP to her full potential, she's not that easy to play, but she can work even with lack of practice. But if you really want to see FP's full potential, you need to do her animation cancellings. You need to understand her whole kit, how to utilize her unique weapon skills. So for ease of execution, I'll give her a 7 here as well. FP actually got a 38, which is in the A+. Wait, what? Why can't I move? There we go. Can you rate Lina? Yes, we're going to rate every units on this list. So this list actually has all of the unique heroes in the game right now. I'm going to rate them all. But Lina is right there at the back, so we're going to it's going to take a while before we rate Lina. Yeah, FP solid A+. Still pretty good, but nowhere as good as she was before. Now Kamael, our favorite grandpa Kamael. Raw power. I think this is a no-brainer. It's a 10. There's really few units in the game that can actually beat Kamael in a dogfight. Kamael's stats are really strong. Unless you're a unit that that's actually a dogfighter. Like when I'm using Prime's account, I'm playing Monolite Carol, I'm still losing to Kamael just because I don't have Earth Necklace, right? The problem is with Kamael is if you have Earth Necklace, Kamael really falls off a little bit, but even so, we can't downplay his strength. Lifesteal is too good. Kamael's definitely 10 points in raw power. Now for outplay potential, a lot of players just say that Kamael is just a one button unit, which is true. Against a lot of matchups, you just have to press your attack and you just win, right? But there are a couple of matchups that are unfavorable. Like for example, you're going against a Carol with Earth Necklace, or maybe a fire unit that you can't really dogfight. There's still a chance for Kamael to beat them because his weapon skill is really good. It has a very short cooldown, around 6 seconds, right? Even faster than Lapice. So with that in mind, Kamael against units with slower weapon skill, he can just use his weapon skill to pressure the opponents and just keep on attacking them with normal attacks as they're trying to juke your weapon skill. You don't need to actually use it. But on matchups where you have to play for skill, for example Oghma, if you actually try to dogfight Oghma, especially if you're playing Kamael and Mono Earth comp, Kamael will actually lose against Oghma because of the reflect damage. But you have an option to not kill Norma with normal attacks. You can just use your chain. His weapon skill is very good. So Kamael's outplay potential, unfortunately, is also going to be pretty high. I think it's going to be around 8. If you know how to use Kamael. A lot of the noob Kamael users and most of the Kamael users that I encounter are really bad at using Kamael, since this is just a branded unit that you can win with one button. But if you actually know how to play Kamael, he's borderline unbeatable, I'd say. Unless you have a very favorable matchup, there's no way you're going to beat Kamael. So outplay potential is 10. Versatility, range buff, I'll give it an 8. Now for stat on reliance, Kamael as a unit. Yes, I'm from the Philippines indeed. So for stat on reliance, so Kamael as a one button unit, I think all of the one button units needs a lot of stats in order to work. So if you can't really kill your opponent with your normal attacks, Kamael loses a lot of his value. So for stat on reliance, I'll give Kamael 7. Wait, hold on. Hello, we're back. Is the audio working fine now? Is there still static noises in the background? Hello, hello. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, better. Nice. So where are we? So 10, 8, 8, 7. Stat and rely 7, yeah. So for ease of execution, Kamael is obviously a very easy unit, but his weapon skill is somewhat hard to land. As I've played a lot of games with Lapice, I am actually pretty good at landing Kamael's weapon skill, but I see a lot of players completely missing the skill. So for that alone, I won't give Kamael a 10 for ease of execution. But since you can actually just win the games without hitting your skill at all, I'm not rating him too low here. I'll still give him a 9. I think he's still a very easy unit to play. Oh no, the static was my bad. If you hear static noises, please do tell me so I can fix my microphone. It's bugging out sometimes. So yeah, Kamael 10, 8, 8, 7, 9. I think that's a solid score for Kamael. Which lands her straight into S tier. Kamael is going to be our very first S tier unit, to no one's surprise. I think some of the more beginner players expect Kamael to be on SS tier, but he's really not. He's not as strong as you think. But still, really strong unit. Next up we have Lucy. A lot of players also hate playing against Lucy since she just runs away, her attacks goes through walls. She's like Arabelle but baby mode. Very easy version of Arabelle, so for raw power, Lucy actually loses against almost every single hero that can actually dogfight in terms of raw power. Her raw power is actually trash. I'll give it a 6. She can still win against earth units as long as you kite properly. But like even Rue, if you get cornered, you're going to lose to Rue. Yeah, that's right. Lucy is squishy as hell if no defensive buff. So usually you see Lucy in double tank comps and Lucy is going to run a what's this? Lord Smiley face cushion, so she can actually be more tankier. And her win condition is her chain skill, since her normal attack is very weak. So you play on a double tank comp. Yeah, that's right. Almost lost all range. Yeah, I don't think almost all range unit is the right word. Yeah, I don't think the right word is almost every range unit. I think the right word is all range units. I don't think Lucy can actually beat any range units in a dogfight, even earth units. As long as the stats are equal, Lucy will probably lose. But her outplay potential is really high. I'll actually give her a I'm thinking between 10 and 9 in terms of outplay potential. Everything that she does can pass through walls. I think it's fair to give her a 10 on outplay potential from that alone. As long as she's on the right team comp, she's really annoying. She can outplay a lot of water units as well. Actually, I think 10 is overrated. Maybe 9. 9 or 10. What do you guys think? This is why I'm streaming this. I want your guys' opinions. So, is her outplay potential actually a 9 or should I make it a 10? Nine. I think 9. 10 would be Noxia. 9 is good. Yeah, 9 is good. I agree. We're going to give her a 9. Now for versatility. As we said earlier, Lucy is not good on comps outside of double tank. She performs really good with like Saber to the Mono Dark comp, right? Oghma and Noxia, and then you put Lucy in there for the crit buff. I think she's not that versatile in terms of team building since there's only one team archetype that she really fits in. She's also quite decent in weapon skill regen speed, but that's really niche, so I'll give her a 7 out of 10 in versatility. She still has a crit party buff, so if you want to force her into a ranged comp, then go ahead. It's not going to be that bad, but if you want to see her performing at her best, she's going to be needing to be she's gonna need to be put in a double defensive comp. Now, stat on reliance, Lucy. You don't need a lot of stats as Lucy. A lot of the time, if you chain the opponent, they die. So, as long as you have enough toughness to survive until you get the chain, I think she will win. So, I'll give her pretty high on stat and reliance, I think. Since her attacks does not deal that much damage, you still need a little bit of attack in order to finish up the opponent. So, not that high, but pretty high. I guess an 8. Yeah, and she's also really good at fighting melee. So if you're playing a melee unit on a map with a lot of walls against Lucy, it's really, really hard. I think there's almost no way to win that if the Lucy player is good. Double defensive comp Kamael, yeah. I think double defensive comp Kamael is actually stronger than Mono Earth, simply because you can utilize his broken weapon skill more, and you still win a lot of dogfights, and you don't get bursted as much. So, yo man, welcome to the stream. Yo, kaso. Now going back to Lucy. Where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, ease of execution. Sa Ronin skill unit, Lucy really needs to dodge the opponent's weapon skill in order to win. Yeah, she's a Ronin skill unit. Ronin skill units usually require more skills than the one button units like Kamael, right, and Ru. So she's going to be on the lower side of this, but actually she's not that hard to pilot since everything she does goes to walls, her weapon skill, her normal attacks, and ever since the quality of life buffs where every single hit of hers just gives her the movement speed. You can just abuse the third part of her combo, which actually is homing, and get the movement speed from that. Lucy is not as hard to use as someone like Arabelle, so yeah, and her weapon skill is not that hard to hit either. I'll just give her a, I think 7 in ease of execution. Oh, did I give 7 to someone else? Yeah. 9, 7. Yeah, FP 7. I think Lucy getting 7 is fair. I think this is how Lucy should be. So 6 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 7. 37 points, which puts her. Wait, how's I forgot to put the total scores on the previous ones. But 37 still fits on the A+ tier. Yeah, Lucy should be right around there. No, I think 8 for ease of execution is a bit too high. Lucy is not that easy to pilot because you need to learn how to dodge the weapon skills. I think 7 is fair. Now Sohee. When Sohee was released, she was really popular since there are not a lot of heroes that can actually beat her in a dogfight. But now, I think Sohee's fallen off a little bit, and the recent buffs to her weapon skill, which makes her chain easier than before, is actually quite good. But still, I think Sohee in terms of raw power is nowhere near the top. If FP is 8, I think Sohee has more raw power than FP, if not equal. I think Sohee, her passive is really strong. Like if she drops below a certain percentage of HP, she's going to be extremely tanky, really hard to fight. I'm going to give Sohee a 9 in terms of raw power. Now for outplay potential, this is not straightforward to judge since her weapon skill is really easy to dodge, right? But if you hit the whole weapon skill, it actually changes the opponent into skills. And since it has a very fast cooldown, about the same time as Lapice, just a bit slower, her weapon skill is actually faster than a lot of units. So if you just use Sohee's weapon skill to pressure, like, you don't need to use it right away. You're going to get your weapon skill first before your opponent. So what you have to do is, if once you get your weapon skill, you just keep on normal attacking them, since they can't really trade back because you're holding your weapon skill, right? If they trade back, you just use your weapon skill and they eat the whole thing. They take a lot of damage and they get chained on your second skill, which is going to be on a much faster cooldown than their second weapon skill. So Yuze's outplay potential is actually not as low as everyone might think. She's a one button unit, but she can actually use her weapon skill to her advantage in order to, how do you call this, in order to maximize her damage output more. However, this is really hard to do if your opponent wins you in a dogfight. So for example, you're using Sohee against Lilith. You can't really just use the same logic, like you hold your weapon skill, keep attacking them since they're pressured. No, because if you do that, the Lilith will just trade back and you lose. It doesn't matter if you hit your entire weapon skill. If you trade hits with Lilith, you're going to die. So it's not as useful against units that actually beat her in a dogfight, like Lilith, Beth, Noxia. So even if I'm saying that there's a good way to use her weapon skill to outplay opponents, it's not going to be that high. I think for outplay potential, it's fair to give Sohee around a 6 or a 7. Now I want everyone to vote here. I think it's, if not 6, it's 7. You guys decide. Are you ordering by points in each tier? Yeah, I'm ordering by points in each tier. 6. Brunch 7. Those are with the 7. 7. So a lot of the viewers are saying 7. Another 6. I think 7 is fair. It's a very short cooldown on her weapon skill. If her weapon skill is not that fast, it's actually going to be a 6. Like for example, it's just as fast as, let's say, someone like Eugene, or I mean Marina. If it's as fast as Marina, it's not going to be rated 7. But since it's faster than most of the 2-hit weapon skill heroes' weapon skills, I'll actually give her a 7 in terms of outplay potential. Now for versatility, as I said earlier, melee and range buff units, I'm just going to give them an 8. There are a lot of variations that you can use with melee and range teams, and so we can fit in all of them. She also is really good in mono basics, so yep, 8 is really solid. You can use her in a lot of comps. Now stat on reliance, Sohee. Should we add decimals? I think adding decimals will just make deciding their overall rank harder. I think we're going to stick with whole numbers. Stat and reliance, we're going to give her, I think Sohee needs a lot of stats. As I said, her gameplay is focused on pressuring with your normal attack, so if you don't have a lot of stats, it's going to be trash. Not 7, 6. And for ease of execution, so it's really easy to use. You just press one button, chase the opponent. Very, very easy. But as I mentioned, there's some outplay tricks that you can do with Sohee, so I'm not going to give her a 10 there. Just give her a 9. $39, wow. Almost got into S tier, but Sohee is going to be in A+. Are we going too slow, or do you want to go faster on the tier list? Do you think this pace is quite slow? One point to S tier, yeah, but not quite S tier. Actually, if I'll put Sohee S tier, I'll disagree. I don't think Sohee is S tier. This might actually be a bit underrated. Or I mean overrated, I think. There might be some mistake here, but putting her on A+, I think is fair. The face is nice, but it might take a while, yeah. I don't know how long this stream will last. I'm not going to play Arena this period because I'm streaming this, so hope you're all enjoying it so far. Mayreel. Very strong unit. Actually one of my favorite units in the game. I really like Mayreel before the buffs. I think she's really well balanced before the buffs, because her dogfight used to be not that good actually. Arabelle used to beat Mayreel in a dogfight before the stupid buffs came in. But now if you just put her on Mono Earth, she just runs over everyone. I think in terms of raw power, if she's run with an on Mono Earth, right, her dogfight potential is really strong. Only if she's on Mono Earth. But on other team comps, like for example double tank Mayreel, which is also really good. It's the way that I like to play Mayreel. It's how I play her before the buffs. I think Mayreel's raw power is not that strong. So since her raw power is only so good in Mono Earth, I'll just give her an 8 here, because if you play her on other comps outside of Mono Earth, she's not that strong. 8. So outplay potential, I'll actually give Mayreel a 10 points here. Why? Because Mayreel, first of all, has a movement speed, so it's easier for Mayreel to dodge a lot of other heroes' weapon skills, and her weapon skill is really fast. It's as fast as Noxia's weapon skill while being an almost guaranteed 2-hit chain. So she outspeeds pretty much every single 2 weapon skill chain heroes in terms of weapon skill regen. So she will chain first, and you cannot dogfight her either, since she deals way more damage than you while being so tanky. So I think Mayreel's going to be 10 in outplay potential. She can even beat fire heroes, right? For example, you meet with Lynn. If you have an injured negate card, Mayreel actually wins that matchup. Lynn cannot do anything against Mayreel if Mayreel has the injury negate. Not even kidding. She's that good. So I'll give her a 10 there. And being a crit buff, also universal party buff, you can use her on a lot of comps. I think for versatility, Mayreel is actually a 9. Now for stat unreliance. Mayreel needs quite a bit of stats to work, because on Mono Earth, right, your win condition is just one bottling the opponent to death. So on that sense, you need a lot of stats. And on double tank comps, you need enough toughness to survive, because even my Mayreel has a mass limit break weapon, and I'm running her with SSB or the Mayreel cushion most of the time, right? But if I run her on double tank, a lot of the times I still don't have enough damage to kill the opponent. Yeah, Mayreel needs quite a bit of stats to work, so I'll not give her I'll not rate her too high on stat unreliance. But since you can chain your opponent pretty easily, as long as you're not that behind on stats, I think you can win out most of your games. So for stat unreliance, I'll give her an 8. Not too high, not too low. Around the middle. Pretty good though. For ease of execution, I think Mayreel is not that easy to use actually. Yeah. Her weapon skill is, oh no, there's a new member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Where am I now? Yeah, so for ease of execution, I think Mayreel is depends on the team comp actually. If you're playing Mono Earth, you just one button, but if outside of Mono Earth, she's not that easy to use. I think 7 is a fair score for ease of execution. There's a lot of skill expression that you can use on Mayreel. .42, which puts her on S tier. What was Kamael's score again? Is Mayreel higher than Kamael? I think, in my opinion, Mayreel should be higher than Kamael. Let's compete Kamael again. Mayreel got 42, right? So right there in the S tier. Yeah, Mayreel is a really strong unit. A lot of outplay potential, a lot of low power, raw power. I mean. Wait, what score did Kamael get? Oh yeah, just the same as Kamael. In terms of the scoring system, Mayreel is the same as Kamael. Is Kamael 43? Did I miss... No, it's 42. Kamael's 42. Yep. Now up next is Bari. Bari's raw power is pretty bad. If you just stand with Bari and keep charging her weapon skill, I mean her normal attack, it's based on RNG, so if you're really lucky, you can actually win a lot of matchups, but that's not going to happen most of the time. And there are a lot of the time where you just be very, very unlucky and not hit a fast charge even once. I just maxed my Bari lately, and I've been playing her on another account also. I really like playing Bari. I think she's not that bad. I think she's playable. I can probably get top 100 with Bari if I use her all week, but yeah, her raw power not that good anymore. I'll give it a 6. Loses against almost everyone that can actually dogfight. Now for her outplay potential, Bari's weapon skill is actually quite fast. Yeah, Bari's weapon skill is as fast as someone like I think Lapice. It's a 6-second cooldown if you have max weapon skill regen speed, so you're going to get your weapon skill before the opponent most of the time, but since her weapon skill does not really pass through walls, it's not that good. It's quite easy to outplay Bari, so I'll not give her that high. I think she has a pretty decent outplay potential, having such a fast cooldown on it to skill weapon skill potentially, as long as they don't dodge every single one of your shots. Just because she's on a double tank comp doesn't mean her playstyle changes. Which unit do you mean? You mean Mayreel? No, actually, I disagree there. Mayreel's playstyle changes a lot if you put her in double tank comp, because on a double tank comp, Mayreel cannot just one bot on the opponent. She loses against a lot of matchups most of the time on double tank. And if she loses the dogfight, she's a bit more pressured to use her weapon skill earlier, because your win condition is chain skill, right? So if the opponent chains you first, you lose. So you're more pressured to use your weapon skill in a double tank comp. Mayreel's actually harder to use in double tank compared to Mono Earth. In terms of versatility, skill damage is a really bad party buff. I think it's really, really bad. There's almost no comp in the game that you want to use Bari on. The only comps that want skill damage are weapon skill regen speed comps, and Bari is not that good on weapon skill regen speed comps because her skill is already quite fast, right? And a lot of your damage also comes from normal attacks, so you don't want weapon skill regen speed to waste your damage. So Bari is not really flexible in terms of team building. Stat and reliance, Bari needs a lot of stats in order to work. Your win condition is the chain skill, so it's not that bad, and you do have the skill damage party buff, so a lot of the time once you chain the opponent, they actually die. But Bari is a lot more useful if you can actually pressure with your normal attacks. There are some matchups where you'll not use your weapon skill, just stand there in charge, and they'll not attack you since they're scared of getting hit by the weapon skill. Without stats, you can't really do that, so I'll give her a 7 for stat and reliance. Now for ease of execution, Bari, you can't really one bottom with Bari anymore, so you have to understand that when I'm rating the unit's ease of execution, I'm also taking consideration the raw power of the hero, right? So for example, Bari, since she can't really outdamage a lot of the heroes with just her normal attacks, she's automatically going to be a bit harder to play. Yeah, so even if Bari's technically just you just hold one button and you win, right? No, you can't really do that because you will lose. So for ease of execution, Bari is actually quite hard to play. Her weapon skill is very easy to juke, so I'll give her a 7. I think 7 is fair for ease of execution on Bari. So 32. Where does that go? 8 tier. Wow. Bari's actually on the 8 tier. I don't think... Are we actually going to put anyone on the B tier and below? Do we even need these tiers? How bad should a hero need to be in order to be on B tier and even C tier? I think I'll just remove the C tier entirely, honestly. I don't think there's a hero in the game that will go on C tier. No, you're laughing because I put Bari in A tier. Bari is actually quite a viable hero. I'm not kidding. I've been using Bari quite a lot recently. Yeah. No. I'm serious. Bari is not as bad as you think she is. Wait, what's her score total again? I think there's something that I need to change here. Yeah, 32, right? I think this is fair. Bari plus Ara and Noxia, no, that's not going to be that good. Because Bari, in order... Actually... If we really want to push her down to B tier, we could. We could, deduct points on her versatility. Actually, this is fair. Because the only team Bari works at is one tank, Mayreel and Bari, or some other Earth unit. Right now, because if you put her Bari with you remember Bari's Bari's passive, right? You need another Earth unit in order to get the bonus damage reduction, right? So what Earth units can you actually put with Bari? You cannot put Rue because skill damage sucks on Rue. She relies on her normal attack, so skill damage will not do good. Same goes for Tinia, same goes for Kamael. The only Earth unit that you can use with Bari is actually Mayreel. So she's really not flexible in terms of team building. First of all, you need to put Mayreel with her, and then you need to put defensive unit, so you need to buff her defense more. Oghma is my favorite one. Oghma is my top choice in terms of that unit. You can also use other ones, but I think no one beats Oghma because Oghma gives a lot of toughness. Yeah, Bari really works on just one specific comp. I'll demote her. I'll put her versatility in 3. There's really just one comp that Bari works at. Yeah, so we push her down to B. I think it's fair that Bari should not be put in A tier, but even if I think she's a playable unit, since you need to build around her in order for her to work. Good night, man. Uh-huh. Wait, hold on. I need to... I'll have a very quick bathroom break. I'll be right back. Yep, and we are back. Let's just speedrun it. I think I need to go faster. It's almost 1 o'clock. Bianca. Raw power. Bianca actually wins against the range matchups against the squishy units, but she cannot win against the tanker units. It's really hard. So for raw power, I'll give Bianca 7. For outplay potential, Bianca's outplay potential is really a bit higher than most people think because her weapon skill is really fast. You can chain faster than a lot of units. Actually, I think this is the fastest weapon. No, Hannah is the fastest weapon skill, right? But I think Bianca has the fastest chaining weapon skill in the game. Maybe not, but still, it's very fast. Her weapon skill is like on a 5-second cooldown, so faster than anyone except Hannah. And she chains into a weapon skill, so it's just 15 seconds. Really strong weapon skill. So if you're forced to do a run in skill playstyle, it's also viable. So her outplay potential is not that low. I think it's a 7. For versatility, she's a crit unit that doesn't she need 4 strikes to chain? No. If you get a decent amount of ticks on your 3 weapon skills, it actually just takes 3 skills in order to chain with Bianca. For versatility, I think Bianca needs to be put in at least 2 damage dealing units, and then you can put her in a full damage. I think she works best in full damage comps, but you can put her with another damage dealer and attack. But she's not that flexible since I think outside the full damage comps, Bianca doesn't really perform that well. Or I may be wrong. No, Lim is using Bianca with Oghma actually, and his Bianca is really strong. Yeah, Bianca might be more versatile than I think. I think it's not fair to put her on the same tier as the range dealers. I don't think Bianca performs that well on a lot of comps. Or maybe it is. Still, I think I'll give her a 7. Now, stat on reliance, Bianca is trash without stats. Actual garbage, yeah. If you don't have stats, Bianca is just trash. If you lose a dogfight, you're not going to win. 5. Bianca needs a lot of stats to work. Ease of execution, Bianca is pretty easy to play, I think. I've played her a bit. I'm not that good at her. I think her charge mechanic is unique, and that will make her that will reduce some points since not a lot of heroes use charged attacks like Bianca, so you won't be able to just master her on your first go. But she definitely does not require a lot of skill to work, so I think for ease of execution, I'm going to give Bianca an 8. $34. 8 tier? 8 tier, huh? I think Bianca deserves to be on the A+. Maybe this is a bit underrated. Maybe I'll boost this up to a 6 so we can put her on A+. I think Bianca deserves to be on A+. Do you guys also think so? Because Bianca is definitely not on the same level as Yuze, in my opinion. Bianca is definitely stronger than Yuze. So buffering her a little bit just for her to go to A+, I think is fair. Beth! When Beth was first released, I did not like this hero at all. Like, she's the very first unit that can just one-button almost everyone. I think she's the first one-button... No, it's actually Bari, but still. The first one-button melee unit, maybe, is Beth. In terms of raw power, unfortunately, Beth really fell off. There are a lot of matchups that she can't win against. Beth actually loses against the full damage range comps, which is really annoying. I think it's fair for Beth to win those fights. Like, you're not going to put any defensive buffs, and you're still beating one of the best dogfight units in the game back then. I think it's unfair for Beth. Yeah, her raw power really is not that strong right now. I think it's a 7, unfortunately. And for her outplay potential, her weapon skill is just a bit faster than Marina's. But it's actually a 3-hit weapon skill. A lot of people might think it's a 2-hit skill, but it's not. It's a 3-hit weapon skill if the opponent knows how to dodge it. So for outplay potential, Beth does not have much outplay potential. Maybe we'll just buff her attack raw power into 8. Did I give FP 8? If I gave FP 8, Yeah, FP is 8. I think it's fair to give Beth 8 as well. Well, in that sense, Bianca should be 8, right? Yeah, I think this is why Bianca was on the A tier and not on the A+. I underrated her raw power just a little bit. Now for versatility, it's an 8. She's a melee unit. You can use her on a lot of melee comps. Stat on reliance. Beth relies a lot on stats. If you don't have stats, just don't use Beth at all. There's no point. 5. And for ease of execution, Beth is very, very easy to play. Being a melee unit, I think ranged units... I used to believe that ranged units are harder to play than melee units in general back in the day, right? Because you need to kite the opponent in order to win. If you just dogfight them point blank, you will lose. But now, since the release of the new ranged units, right? Even if you go fight them point blank as a melee unit, the ranged unit can still win. So right now, I think it's reversed. Melee units are generally harder than ranged units. So in that sense, I won't give Beth that high in ease of execution just because she's a melee unit. I think 8 is a fair score, yeah. She's not that easy, but still one button unit. $35 puts her in A+. Is Beth A+? I don't think Beth is A+. I think this is a bit overrated. Don't you guys think so too? I think Beth should be on A tier. I think we overrated her a bit on all of these stats. Yeah, but with the right amount of stats, right, Beth is still a monster to deal with. Like, if I'm playing Noxia and I go against a Beth with the with very strong stats, I'm almost guaranteed to lose. Beth deserves an A+. Yeah, sure. I agree. I think A+ is good for Beth. Idol Eva. Now, believe it or not, when I first started playing this game, Idol Eva was one of the units that I used. I used to play Idol Eva. Yeah, because before Noxia was released, I'm really struggling to beat FP with Arabelle and Oghma. I used to play Arabelle, Oghma, and Lupina when Noxia was not out yet. I wasn't a top 100 player back then. I think I was only at Platinum or Diamond. So I got really annoyed that the FP players said I just started to play Idol Eva just to troll them. And I think Idol Eva is pretty solid. I think she deserves around B tier, but unfortunately, I don't know how good Idol Eva performs now. I haven't seen anyone use her, actually. Yeah, the only times I see Idol Eva is when I'm watching Base Knight's YouTube videos, right? You guys watch Base Knight? Sometimes use Idol Eva and actually wins with her. But since I don't really have my own personal takes on her, I haven't fought against her a lot, I haven't used her a lot, I don't think I want to rate Idol Eva, so I'm just going to put her on this tier. Yeah, Idol Eva is good in close classroom, I agree. But that makes her versatility really low, yeah, right? Because she just sucks in a lot of maps. I'm not going to rate Idol Eva at all. Just put her there. Lilith. So in terms of raw power, I think Lilith's still at the top. Lilith's in the same rank as Beth? No, I think Lilith is actually higher than Beth. Because of the fact that her weapon skill is guaranteed to take chain in 2 hits. Her raw power is 9. No doubt about that. Lilith is really strong. If you're able to hit the debuff as a Lilith, you're almost guaranteed to beat every single almost every dogfight. What do you mean Eva is not that bad? Eva is just very bad? No. When I mean, Eva is obviously not at the top. If I'm going to rate Eva, she's going to be on the B tier and the A tier, right? Nowhere, she's, it's not possible that she's going on top of A+, but on maps that Idol Eva works, she's actually pretty decent. So, she's not as bad as you think. She's not complete garbage. Now back to Lilith. Her outplay potential. It's a guaranteed 2-hit weapon skill, but the cooldown is quite short. Is quite long. So I think Lilith has a decent chance of outplaying a lot of heroes. Actually, I think her outplay potential is somewhere around the 7, right? Her weapon skill is somewhat easy to dodge. Like, if you're the one going against Lilith, it's not that hard to dodge her weapon skill, especially if you have movement speed. But outside of that, if you know how to corner your opponents, you can actually hit her weapon skill pretty consistently. So I rate Lilith at 7 in outplay potential. Now for versatility as a melee buffer, it's an 8 automatically. No need to discuss it further. Stat on reliance, I think Lilith, even if she relies a lot on stats because her gameplay is focused on normal attacks. Since you can actually consistently chain your opponents, I don't think she relies on stats that much. So for stat on reliance, I'll just give her a 7. Yeah, she can kill FP, true. Lilith actually has a decent chance of killing FP. And if you got bad net, her skill is impossible to dodge. That's not true. If you actually master, if you understand how yellow ping works, it's not that hard to dodge Lilith's weapon skill even with yellow ping. But yeah, it's a bit harder than with green ping. And Lilith is also not that hard to use. I'll just give her a 7 for ease of execution. Or an 8. I think Lilith is quite an easy one. $39, wow, almost got into S tier, but unfortunately, nope. She's going on top of the A+ tier, which I agree on. I think it's fair to put Lilith on top of A+. She's a really solid unit, but she does have her weaknesses. Unlike these S tier units that have almost no weaknesses at all. Next up, Future Knight. Please S tier. Lilith? No, I don't think Lilith deserves S tier. Future Knight. So, we're just going to assume that Future Knight uses the chainsaw. If Future Knight uses Cosmic Destroyer, in my opinion, she's here around A tier. But with the chainsaw, we're just going to rate her chainsaw because it's the better weapon overall. There's only one FK here, we can't really put 2 of them. So we're just going to assume that she's using the chainsaw. So with the chainsaw, raw power is... yeah, give her a 10. FK beats even arena in dogfights when she's on chainsaw. Really, really strong. And against light units, for example, when you're up against Lapice, like Lapice versus chainsaw FK, Lapice win condition is just to win with chain skill, right? But FK can just, very funny, FK can just chainsaw her while she's using her weapon skill and she will die. Like, she will lose more than half of her HP if FK just chainsaw her in the face while she uses her weapon skill. It's really, really, really strong. Now, in terms of outplay potential, I don't think FK is that high. I think her outplay potential is around a 7 or a 6. Her weapon skill is really easy to dodge. It's pretty slow. I think it's even slower than Lilith's, right? It's easier to dodge than Lilith. And your most of your damage comes from your normal attack, so I mean, you can, like FP, you can just use your weapon skill to pressure, but since it's not a one-hit chain, it's not that good. I think her outplay potential, actually, if it's gonna be a 7 or a 6. What do you guys think? FK's outplay potential. I think if it's not 6, it's a 7. Seven is fair. Yeah, 7 seems fair. Now for versatility, very versatile unit with a defense buff. As long as you put her in a melee team, she's going to be really good. Yep. Yeah, I agree. So for versatility, I think I'm going to give FK an 8 as well. The only downside is you can't play her on range comps, but if you think about it, you can just use her Atomic Destroyer, right, and put her on 8. So if we're putting her Atomic Destroyer into consideration here, can actually increase this one. Yeah, let's not forget that she has a second exclusive weapon that she can also use in some comps. So if you do own an FK and you have both of her weapons, you can put her on a lot of teams and just switch the weapons around. For stat on reliance, it's FK relies on stats. No matter if you're using the gun or the chainsaw, she needs a lot of stats to work. I'll give her a 5 on stat on reliance. If you don't have stats on FK, you're dead. Yeah. Crit melee FK is really strong. Its damage is absurd. Now for ease of execution, what do you need to do as FK? you just press the button, right? And then hold the button and then you win. I think FK is one of the easiest heroes to use in the game. Her weapon skill is also really easy to land. You just go point blank and then press the button and it hits most of the time. I think FK is really easy to play. Like there's no way you're going to mess that up, right? The only way I'm seeing FK is going to get outplayed is if, for example, she's going against a hero with movement speed and she instantly activates the buff. So they just get their movement speed, they run away, and then you waste your buff. And then they just fight you after it expires, right? But as long as you don't do that, FK is very easy to play. 41 is fair, S tier. Yep, FK is S tier, definitely. Gabriel's raw powers, So let's compare her, right? I think she's weaker than Bianca. She can't be stronger than Bianca. She's definitely a 7. No, FK is not SS tier. FK is really easy to outplay. So Gabriel 7 on raw power, outplay potential. All Gabriel can do is hold her weapon skill, so she won't get hit. I think she does not have a lot of outplay potential. If you lose the dogfight as Gabriel, you just die. I think it's a 6. Nothing much you can do with Gabriel. No. Well, still, you can use your weapon skill for pressure, right? I think it's 7. Versatility. As a crit, I think it's the same as Bianca, right? You put her on the same comps that you put Bianca in. So it's 7. Stat and reliance. Gabriel relies a lot on stats. If someone other than the top 10 players uses Gabriel against me, they just die. The only time I lose against Gabriel is against Dom. And I'm playing Monodark. So Gabriel can't even beat Monodark unless she has that much stats. So I'll give her a 6 on stat and reliance. And for ease of execution, Gabriel is really easy to play. I think I'll give her a 9 here. Yep. $36. A+, Gabriel. Yeah, fair. Now Noxia. Now for the first time, I'm going to be rating one of my main units, so raw power. Noxia is not that does not have that much raw power. I think it's not that bad, but it's not as high as you guys might think. It's 8. I'll rate it an 8. The thing is, you need to play Noxia properly in order to actually win dogfights. You need to kite around her summon really well. So it's 8. For outplay potential, I'll give Noxia a 10. Did I give anyone a 10 on outplay potential yet? I don't think so. I think Noxia is the first one I'm giving a 10. So the thing is with Noxia, if you're a really good Noxia player, you can 1v3 a lot of players really hard. Really easily, right? It's very easy to 1v3 with Noxia if you're good at playing her. So I think her outplay potential is actually 10. Versatility, I'll also give her a 10. You can put her on pretty much every team comp. So her party buff is HP, right? So you can, it's a universal party buff. Literally every hero in the game benefits from HP. And she deals hybrid damage. Her normal attacks are ranged, her weapon skills are melee, her summon deals melee, and her chain skill deals hybrid, right? So you can even put her on melee team and she will still work. That's why I'm giving Noxia a 10 in terms of versatility. I think Noxia is not that good unless you pair her with another tanky buffer like Oghma, Marina, Arena, FP. But she can still work even with two offensive party buffers. I think Noxia is 10 in terms of versatility. What deals hybrid damage? What I mean by hybrid damage is she deals both melee and ranged damage. Now, stat unreliance. You're saying Noxia needs a lot of stats to work. No. You want skill the Noxia with Arena, right? But the thing is, it's not Noxia. Noxia is not the issue there. It's Arena being too strong. Actually, Arena is not supposed to be that strong. Like even my Noxia, right? You know my Noxia is really strong, right? But as long as I don't put her in double tank setup, I still lose to Arena. If the Arena had more stats than me. But I don't think Noxia is that reliant on stats. When I first used Noxia and I reached top 100 with Noxia, my weapon does not have any limit break. It's just a base weapon. My Oghma also does not have any limit breaks on his weapon when I first got top 100 with the Monodark comp. I don't think Noxia needs a lot of stats to work if you can actually play around her summon really well. I'll give her a 7. I still think you need a bit of stats to make Noxia work, but actually it might be an 8. Yeah, honestly. And ease of execution. Noxia is not that easy to play. Like I've matched against a lot of Noxias. They really suck at the game. I'm not even kidding. When I face Noxia, around 80% of them don't know how to play Noxia properly. Yeah, so Noxia is not that easy to play. You might think that Noxia is just very strong and very easy to play. No. If the Noxia sucks, Noxia will just lose. You need to learn how to play her properly if you want to maximize her potential. So for ease of execution, I'll give her a 7. She's not that hard. She's not as hard as the hardest units in the game, for sure. But she's not that easy either. 43, wow. Actually, top Mayreel. I think versatility carried Noxia here because you can just put her in so many team comps. Yeah. Noxia's raw power is 7. I think Noxia's raw power can actually be 7. I agree. I think 8 is overrated because 8 is Beth, right? And FP and Bianca. Yeah, she's definitely not on the same tier as Beth, FP, and Bianca. You're right. Yeah, Noxia's raw power is only 7. Still puts her in 8 tier. Maybe below these two, but still really strong. Really good unit. Is the newest hero good in Arena? Yes. I think this unit is actually stronger than Noxia. But I'll rate her later. Alef. What do you think is Alef? Is Alef's raw power? It's not that good. 6. Outplay potential, there's nothing much you can do with Alef. 6. Alef is basically just a party buff. You just put Alef there. You just put him there to defend against the ranged units, but he can't do much other than that. Versatility, a 4. Right? Like, there's no point in using Alef unless your opponents are ranged, so unless it's a map that really favors range, and or it's Master Arena and you saw your opponent pick 2 range units, there's no point in playing Alef at all. So he gets a 4 in terms of versatility. For stat on reliance, I think Alef, you play Alef for his party buff, so you don't really need that much stats. But if you want to win with Alef himself, you need quite a bit of stats to work. I think you need a new tier. Why? Alef is god tier? No. Guys, this is a serious tier list. I'm going to put Alef where he actually belongs. In the trash. 6. Ease of execution, Alef is not that hard to play. Though, if you want to chain with Alef, you need to distance yourself at the perfect distance from your opponent, right? In order to hit all of the ticks of your weapon skill. And you need to time it too, so he's not that easy. But he's pretty easy to play. I'll give this one an A. $30 points. Just enough to get into A tier. I think Alef deserves the A tier. I don't think Alef is B tier at all. Like, if Alef is useful, if you can actually use Alef, Alef performs really well. But on the situations where you can, where there are very few situations where you can actually use Alef and perform. So yeah. Lahn. So Lahn, her raw power is not that good. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we're going to rate Arabelle properly. She's definitely not SS tier. No, her Arabelle's raw power is not that weak anymore. Arabelle did get pretty good buffs actually. Back then, I would rate her raw power around a 6 or a 5. She's actually pretty trash before, but she got buffed so much that her raw power is actually quite decent. I think it's around the same as Noxia. And for outplay potential, Arabelle has very good mobility, right? But the problem with Arabelle is almost all of her attacks does not pass 2 walls, so it's really hard for you to actually outplay the opponent. But if you master playing Arabelle, like playing around her plasma grenade, the her weapon special ability, she's actually really good, even on maps with a lot of walls. But she needs a lot of practice if you want her to work. Yo Ren, welcome to the stream. So for outplay potential, I'll give her a 9. Not quite a 10 because you can actually outplay her by dancing around the wall, but still there's a way around that, so yep, a 9. And for versatility, I'll give her a 5. She's only viable in mono dark comps. Obviously, she has a dark buff, and the only mono dark comps that she works well in right now are Oghma and Claude and Oghma and Noxia. So only 2 specific team comps that you can use Arabelle in. But the thing is that the reason why I'm not rating Arabelle lower than 5 is because mono dark is really versatile in terms of maps. So for example, the team comp like Arabelle, Noxia, Oghma, you can use this comp in almost every map and it will work. Actually, in every single map. That comp works in every single map. You can get top 100 on every single map as long as you have the skills and the stats. That's how strong that mono dark comp is. So I'm not going to rate her lower than 5. I think 5 is a fair rating for her versatility. Now, stat and reliance, I think Arabelle does need a bit of stats because you need to survive. Before the rise of the 1 button units, right? I think Arabelle actually does not need a lot of stats at all. But now, since you see Kamael's, Mayreel's, Claude, Lina inverse, a lot of units that can just easily kill you with 1 button. I think you need quite a bit of stats to make Arabelle work now. But still, as long as you don't go against those units, as long as you don't go against the full damage comps, I don't think you need that much stats as Arabelle. So I'll give her a 7 in terms of stat and reliance. Now for ease of execution, I'll give her a 5. Arabelle is one of the hardest heroes to play in the game. Yeah, I think a lot of players will agree that Arabelle is one of the hardest heroes to play. Like, none of her weapon skills can pass through walls, and her win condition relies on tricks like double ticking your chain skill. It's there's really a lot to learn about Arabelle if you want to play her optimally. So she's really hard, so I'll give her a low score on ease of execution. Like, you can't just be a bronze player like and just pick up Arabelle and perform as good as me. That's not gonna happen. I practiced Arabelle for more than a year. I hope Arabelle's at least... What? Arabelle's... I think Arabelle deserves the A+. 8 tier? only you can play her with ease. No, because that's because I've been playing her for more than a year now. So sad to see her on 8 tier. I think she deserves an A+ at least, man. 33. Is this fair? I don't think this is fair. I think Arabelle deserves at least A+. Because right now, honestly, I think Arabelle is better than FP. I'm not even joking. I think Arabelle is better than FP. Yeah, just because of versatility. Just because you can't use her on a lot of comps. Like, there's no arguing about these numbers. I think these numbers are fair. But it's just sad to see Arabelle on 8 tier. But it is what it is. Moving on. Yep, Ara is really hard to play if not using her exclusive comp. Really true. Very, very true. Lahn, her raw power, pretty trash. I think it's weaker than Arabelle, actually. Outplay potential. At least Arabelle is better than Gab. Yeah, I know, but Arabelle just fell down because of her versatility. Just because you can't use her on any other comp other than Monodark. Lahn. So her outplay potential. Lahn's weapon skill is really slow for a 3-hit chain. Lahn needs 3 skills to chain, right? Unless the opponent just stands on your weapon skill and she only needs 2. But let's assume it's a 3-hit skill. And it's faster than... it's just around the same speed as Marina's, right? It's really bad. I think for outplay potential, Lahn is around 6. It's I put her on a 6 because a lot of the time you're going to use Lahn with weapon skill with gen speed, and on weapon skill with gen speed team comps, Lahn can actually outplay the opponent as long as you don't get chained first. Now for versatility, she has an HP buff, pretty good buff, very versatile in terms of team building. I think Lahn deserves an 8 for versatility. Well, no, because Lahn is just weak on a lot of comps. I think 8 is unfair. I think 7 is more fair for versatility. So you can put Lahn on a lot of comps. Like, she's best on weapon skill with gen speed, but you can also use her outside of that comp. But Lahn will not be as strong as she is on weapon skill regen. So 7. Stat on reliance. I think Lahn needs does she need a lot of stats to work? I think so. Yeah, because a lot of the times when I chain the opponent, I assume, right, you're using Lahn on weapon skill regen, and if you're using her weapon skill regen comps, you need a lot of stats in order to actually kill the opponent with the chain. There are a lot of times where, because my Lahn's weapon is not max limit broken, I can chain the opponent and they still don't die, and I just lose because of that. Yeah, so for stat on reliance, I'll give Lahn an 8. I think she needs quite a lot of stats if you want her to work. And for ease of execution, I don't think there's not much to Lahn's gameplay. You just run around and then press a skill whenever it's off cooldown. It's not that hard. You need a recommendation unit for story. So if you just want to clear story mode, the best units you can use are Kamael and FP. Like, if you want your game to be a lot easier, if you just play Kamael. Kamael is around S tier on every single mode. $36. A+! What? Lahn? No. Why is Lahn A+ in Arabelle? I think something went wrong here. No. There's no way Lahn is A+. There's no way. I think I overrated the stat on reliance. Yeah, probably. I think Lahn needs more stats in order to work. $35. No. I don't believe Lahn deserves the A+. I think she needs to be at least on A tier. Crying? Why am I crying? No, I'm not crying. Because of party buff. Yeah, I think I also overrated her versatility because, as I said, she only performs at her best on weapon skill and speed comp. So if we lower this down to 1, we can safely put her on A tier. Yeah, Arabelle is low due to her party buff and difficulty. Obviously, if I'm the one playing Arabelle, right, should be somewhere on A+, but we're making this tier list assuming how most people will perform with her. So he's just around there. Lapice. Lapice. Lapice, right? Raw power, absolute garbage. I give it a 5. Like, there's almost no hero in the game that you can win dogfight against this Lapice. There's just no way. For outplay potential, Lapice does have a lot of outplay potential, but the thing is, it's also very easy to abuse Lapice. Like, if you just don't hit her, it's not that hard to outplay Lapice at all. And if you know how to dodge her weapon skill, like, the way for Lapice to consistently chain you is by luring you into the corner and then using her weapon skill so you can't get out. But if you know that that's what Lapice's game plan is, it's very easy to counter Lapice. So even if her outplay potential is really good, she's also very good, easy to abuse. So I'm not going to give her that high of an outplay potential, but she's still really, really good. If the opponent does not know how to play against Lapice, where most of your opponents probably won't, because almost no one uses Lapice. I mean, even Melon does not stream anymore. I don't know if he still plays the game. Best Lapice player in Asia 2 just disappeared. For versatility, same as Arabelle. Probably. But the thing is, Lapice, Monolith has more variations that Lapice works on. Like, you can use her with Eugene, you can use her with Carol, you can use her with Priscilla. There are more comps that you can use Lapice at compared to Arabelle, but the thing is, Monolith does not perform as well as Monodark on a lot of maps. There are some maps where Monolith just gets it's just really bad. So I think putting her versatility on the same level as Arabelle is fair. Now for stat on reliance, I don't think Lapice needs that much stats, but since Arena is very prominent in the meta, you do need a lot of toughness in order to survive against Arena and actually have a chance of beating her. So if you're going to play Monolith with Lapice, I think you need quite a bit of stats, but not that much. As long as you don't go against Arena, you don't need that much stats to make Lapice work. For ease of execution, I'm actually going to put her. If I scored Arabelle 5, I'll give Lapice a 4. Lapice is probably the hardest unit to use. She's really, really hard to play. I've been playing her a lot, but I still haven't mastered her completely. I think Lapice is definitely the hardest unit to play in the game. Do you guys agree? How many of you agrees that Lapice is the hardest unit in the game? Like, your normal attacks cannot win against pretty much anyone. The only situation where your normal attacks actually win trades is against dark units, and even so, if you match against someone like Claude or even Arabelle, Lapice might still lose the dogfight, right? Yeah, I do feel like Lapice is the hardest unit to use. Is Mayreel good in story? Yeah, she's decent in story, but the problem with Mayreel in story mode is she does not have sustain. She does not have built-in sustain in her kit, so Mayreel is not as good as someone like FP or Kamael, which can heal themselves throughout the story. Yeah, I think this is a fair rating for Lapice. $29. Not even 8 tier. I think I'm going to bump up her outplay potential so she's at least 8 tier. I think Lapice is still a solid unit if you master her, but I don't think she deserves to be in the same tier as Bari. Lapice is definitely stronger. Lupina, also one of my favorite units. But I rarely use her now because she's just so bad. Like, her raw power, just a bit stronger than Lapice, I think. Outplay potential, there's almost nothing you can actually do. Oh, konnichiwa. Yeah. The good thing about Lupina is her weapon skill is quite fast and it's only a 2-hit skill, so as long as you can hit your weapon skills, I think you'll be able to win. But the thing is, her chain skill does not even deal that much damage, so even if you're up against Arena, if you chain skill the Arena, they will not die. So I don't think Lupina deserves any higher than set. I think it's a 6 actually. Lupina is pretty bad. Now for versatility, she's a crit melee unit. Crit melee is a very good team comp right now, but the thing is, why not just use Carol, right? If you're going to use Lupina, there's Carol and there's Hannah, which are much better units than Lupina, so there's really not much point in using Lupina at all. I think the only reasons to use Lupina over these two is if the map permits it. Like, for example, you're playing on Ancient Ruins or Closed Classroom, then Lupina is better, but other than that, I think it's a 6. She's more versatile than Lapice or Arabelle, but she's really not that good. Stat on Reliance, as I said before, Lupina a lot of the time does not deal enough damage even with chain. She needs a lot of stats to work. I'll give her an 8 on stat on Reliance. No. She needs a lower score, I mean. Maybe it's 6. You need a lot of stats if you want to make Lupina work. She's just too squishy, right? All 6s. Ease of execution, Lupina is not that hard to play, excluding outside of her weapon skill, right? Her weapon skill is really hard to hit if the opponent knows how to play around it. Like, if the opponent plays on point blank range, it's really easy to sidestep Lupina's weapon skill. So I think in that case, Lupina is a bit hard to use. But let's use someone else's. Yeah, I think if I gave Noxia a 7, it's fair to give Lupina a 7 as well. $31. 8 tier. Does she even deserve the 8 tier? Yeah, even if I put for example, yeah, I think she's going to go to on the bottom of 8 tier no matter what. Easy to dodge normal attack. 6. Yeah, you know what? Let's just give this a 6. It's the same rating either way. Let's just give her all 6s, right? Wow, now we have the moment Brunch has been waiting for. It's Lynn. We're going to rate Lynn. So for her raw power, I think Lynn is not that good. Unless the opponent does not have an injury negate. But while assessing Lynn, we're going to assume that the opponent does have injury negate because a lot of the top players actually use that card. I use 2 of them all the time. So if the opponent has a negate card, Lynn is not that good. I think it's around 8 or 7. Maybe a 7. I think it's 7. And for outplay potential, Lynn is actually really good. So you can... She gets bonus defense while just running, right? So it's easier for her to survive until she gets her chain. And she also has an attack that passes through walls that deals a lot of damage. And her chain skills, it's really easy for Lynn to chain in 2, as long as you know how to animation cancel. I think Lynn has a very high outplay potential. I'll give it an 8. Yep. It seems like Brunch agrees. Oh yeah, Micardo plays Lynn a lot too. Yeah, and he also agrees it's an 8. For versatility, it's an 8. It's a melee buffer, similar to Beth and Lilith. Stat on Reliance, I don't think Lynn needs a lot of stats to work. Well, you do need a little bit, but since you rely on your chain skill and you're tanky enough to survive against a lot of units, I don't think Lynn needs that much stats. Now for ease of execution, you I think Lynn is easier to use than Noxia. Yep, I think 8 is fair. I think this is fair. Do you guys agree with these ratings? 7, 8, 8, 7, 8 for Lynn. Yeah, so 38, basically almost on top of A plus tier. I think this is really this is a fair spot. I think it's a really good spot to put Lynn in. I'm getting pretty tired of talking. I've been talking non-stop for how long now? I'll just mute myself and play a bit of Crossy Road first. One last game and I'll return to the tier list. Sedge. Marina's next. Yeah, I think Marina's raw power is she deserves somewhere around the 7. She's pretty strong. You need a lot of stats in order to just one bottom the opponent with Marina, but 2 more hours and we're done. Yeah, I think I'll just make it a bit quicker right now, so we can just finish earlier. There's still a lot more to go. So for outplay potential, I think Marina has a lot of outplay potential. She has a very fast cooldown for two skill weapons, 2 skill chain. As long as you can actually hit her attacks, it's fine. Really good. Now for versatility, it's an HP party buff, and she does deal a bit of hybrid damage, so you can put her on range comps. I think she's a bit higher than most of the standard melee units because her party buff is more versatile, and you can actually play her on range comps, though not as optimally. Maybe do a part 2 stream. I think I'll finish this tier list on this stream. Now for stat on reliance, I don't think Marina needs a lot of stats, actually. I'll give her an 8 here. Wait, what? Yeah, what did I give Lynn? 7? Is 7 fair for Marina? Yeah, sure. I think putting her on the same as Lynn is fair. And for ease of execution, I think Marina is harder to play than Lynn, because her weapon skill pauses for a little bit. So I'll give her a 7 there. Oops. $38. Yep, still on the top of A+. I think this is fair. Oghma. Now the last unit on my main team is finally here. Now on raw power, I'm actually going to give Oghma a 9. If you actually choose to dogfight Oghma, most of the time you're going to lose, unless you're playing a counter unit like Carol, FP, or anything else. If you straight up just dogfight Oghma, even if you're playing Hannah, you're going to lose. Like, the only way to beat Oghma is to... No. This is assuming that you just fight Oghma head on. You'll actually lose if you do that. But the thing is, you don't have to do that, which is why for outplay potential, I'll give Oghma some food, like a 4. Like, there's nothing much you can do as Oghma. Actually, it's a 3. Oghma is very easy to abuse. You just run away from him, he doesn't have any gap close, and when you chain him, he usually dies. Yeah, that's right. No one dogfights Oghma, but in evolved power, we're just assuming that you do dogfight Oghma. That's why I rate him so low here on outplay potential, because you just don't dogfight Oghma and he dies. That's it. But if you do dogfight him, he's really, really strong. That's why I'm giving him a 9 here. Now for versatility, I'm going to give Oghma a 10 as well. I think almost pretty much every comp you can put Oghma in it, and Oghma will be very good on that comp. Oghma's special ability is just really good at buffing up your team. I think you can put Oghma on pretty much any team, and he'll perform decently in there. And also, Oghma doesn't need a lot of stats because... Oghma does not need the party buffs in order to work, because most of his damage relies on his reflect damage anyway, right? And most of his value is just on his special ability, so... Which is why you can put him on almost pretty much any team and he'll perform well. Now for stat and reliance, Oghma does need quite a bit of stats. I'll just give him a 6 here. If your Oghma does not have a lot of stats, he will not give as much defense to your party members with his special ability. So Oghma, if you don't have a lot of stats, you can't even dogfight the other heroes. You need to be on at least equal stats with them if you want to win the dogfight. So he's a 6 on there. And for ease of execution, Oghma is really easy to play. I think it's a 9. No, actually it's an 8. The thing the reason why I'm not giving Oghma as high as a score on ease of execution is because his normal attack combo sucks. Oghma's normal attack combos is really bad. Like, it doesn't have that much gap closer, and after the first attack, the next ones almost just stay in place. It's really hard to hit full combos unless they just stand there and dogfight you, right? Yeah, but other than that, there's really nothing much you need to do about Oghma. Yeah, rare, almost a rare unit animation, so true. It's just a little bit better than Male Knight. Yeah, but still doesn't change the fact that you don't really need to hit them that much in order to get Oghma's value. His value is just mostly his party buff. $36 on A+. I think Oghma deserves the A+. I forgot what scores I gave the other units, so bear with me. Miya. Who the fuck is this? I know Zebo got top 100 with Miya, but who the hell uses Miya anyway? I'm not gonna rate Miya. I haven't seen one in arena for a very long time. And she only works on some maps, so I don't think there's any point in rating Miya here. Eugene. Now, now Eugene's recent buffs, right? They gave her a attack reduction on her normal attacks, like similar to the one Rue has. It's actually really good. As if I've been matching against a couple of arenas, and if they don't have a lot of stats, a lot of stat difference, Monolith Eugene can actually kill arena. No joke. The buffs are just that good. Wait, Veronica's not on this tier list? No, Veronica's here. Yeah, so for Eugene, I was going to rate her low power, raw power around the 6, but now after the buffs, I think 7 is a fair number to give her. No. Nah, 6 is still fair. She did get some bit of survivability with the recent buffs, but still her damage is doo-doo, trash. Nothing to rate highly. Now for outplay potential. What did I give Lapice? I think she deserves the same score as Lapice. A 9? Yeah, I think Eugene deserves a 9. The only reason why I'm not giving Eugene a 10 in outplay potential is because her weapon skill takes a couple of ticks, and the opponent can really abuse that. So for example, the opponent is FP or Marina, right? They can just hit you with their weapon skill while you're locked in the skill animation, and though you can cancel the skill animation early, that means that sometimes you cannot chain the opponent in 3 skills. That's Eugene's only weakness. So if you master her, it's not really that much of an issue, but yeah, I just can't give Eugene 10 in outplay potential, even if she's really hard to use. Now for versatility, though she is a melee unit, I don't think she performs that well in standard melee comps. Like, if you put her, if you replace Beth or Lilith with Eugene in a standard melee comp, Eugene will not perform as well as Beth and Lilith does. So I think she's a bit lower in terms of versatility. For stat on reliance, Eugene's chain deals a lot of damage on its own. Like, even if you play her on a double tank comp, Eugene's chain skill will deal a lot of damage. And most of the time you play Eugene in Monolite, right? If you play Eugene in Monolite, all you need is toughness. You don't need a lot of damage. And as long as you survive until you chain, most of the matchups you'll win. I don't think Eugene needs a lot of stats, but since I already explained this before, since a lot of the new heroes just one buttons you to death, this just makes run and skill units need a lot more stats than before. So unless you go against like triple damage range comps, right? If it's against a melee, you don't need a lot of stats, but against triple damage range, you need a lot of stats, which is why I'm giving it a 7. And for ease of execution, I think Eugene is harder to play than Arabelle, honestly. I used to think that Arabelle is harder to play than Eugene because she's much squishier than Eugene. But Eugene has no part of Eugene's kit goes through walls, so if the opponent just circles around the wall, there's no way you can get your movement speed, unlike with Arabelle, right? Where you can just use your special ability, the grenade, to get the movement speed even over the wall. Eugene can't do that. But I don't think she's hard as Lapice, so I'll give her 5 as well, same as Arabelle. 34, which puts her in A tier. Yeah, I think Eugene deserves A tier. Now we're almost done. Nari. Her raw power is not... It's pretty bad. I think it's the same level as Arabelle. Outplay potential, there's pretty much nothing you can do with Nari. If you cannot one button them, there's nothing you can do. It's a 6. The best Nari can do is hold her weapon skill, but against ranged opponents, that doesn't even work. And since range is everywhere right now in the meta, Nari is just not that good. The only reason you play Nari is to counter Monolith comes in Master Arena. Other than that, there's no point in playing Nari at all. Versatility, she fits in on a lot of ranged comps, but she does not perform as well as other ranged units, and she does need crit. So I don't think Nari is as versatile as the other ranged units, unfortunately. Stat on Reliance, I think Nari needs a lot of stats to work. Like, I've matched against a lot of Naris with Monolith, and if they have less stats than me, they just die. Even against FP, they can't beat FP. Even against Lapice, if they can't chain Lapice as fast enough, they will lose to Lapice. So I think Nari needs a lot of stats to work. I'll give her a 6. I remember when Nari was a threat. Yeah, back in the day, Nari was a threat, and I remember when a lot of people are running Nari. Almost everyone was running Nari, right? And like, there's almost no one using dark units, since the only dark units that are present back in the day are Arabelle and Lupina, and they're both trash. So when I was playing Arabelle in Arena, like, I just destroyed the Naris and they don't expect it. FP with EN can beat Nari pretty easily. No, you don't even need EN. If Nari does not outstat your FP, the Nari will just die to dogfight. Unless they have at least one defensive unit, I think, then they might win. But full damage Nari cannot beat FP even without Earth Necklace. Now for ease of execution, I see a lot of players still struggle to play Nari perfectly. They try to stay as far away as you as they can. But the thing is, by doing that, you will miss most of your shots. So if you're going to play Nari against light units anyway, unless otherwise there's really no point in playing Nari. So in that case, you just need to stay close to the opponent, right? Nari, there's not much to Nari's gameplay. I think if Nari loses, Nari loses. If Nari wins, Nari will win. There's nothing much you can do. Yep, I'll give her an 8 here. I think she's pretty easy to play. If she wins, she wins. 34. That's a bit higher than I expected, but still 8 tier. I can dig that. I think this is fine. I don't think Nari is that quick to be in B tier. I think she's still usable in a lot of situations. And range unit just feels the same. Yeah, true. Like, when are they going to release another Arabelle? Like, Arabelle's the only range unit that feels different. Everyone else, you just press one button and done. Garam. Now, though Garam does deal a lot of damage, Garam is extremely squishy. Against Arena, you can't you just die in like 3 seconds. Yeah, win hard or lose hard, true. That's the very definition of Garam. Like, if you win, the opponent just gets deleted in like 3 seconds. But if you lose, you get deleted in 3 seconds yourself. I'll be honest, I think Garam's raw power is, I think it's around the same as Arabelle. Deals way more damage, but it's way more squishy. Outplay potential. There's nothing you can really do with Garam. If you can kill them before they kill you, you win. There's not much outplaying to do. I think Garam will score a 5 in outplay potential. I've been playing Garam a lot in mono water comps on Ninja's account, and it's really bad. There's nothing I can do. He's dead if he shoots Oghma. Not true. If you dogfight Oghma, of course you will lose, but as long as you play for your chain skill, Garam can still beat Oghma with like half HP remaining. Oghma still loses to Garam. Now for versatility, mono water comp, obviously a 5, same as Arabelle. But just like Lapice, there are more variations of mono water that you can play Garam at, as opposed to mono dark, where Arabelle does not fit in a lot of mono dark comps, and there are more viable water comps than dark comps. But still, I can't rate Garam's versatility higher than 5. Now for stat on reliance, maybe I'll even rate it a 4. Garam needs a lot of stats to work. A lot of stats. Like, the only time I lose to Garam is when I face Lim's Garam, which is extremely strong, but other times, Garam's just garbage. Oh, Zebo is here. Hi, Zebo. Miya. Yeah, for ease of execution, there's nothing you're supposed to do. Just press the button. If you win, you win. Don't try Garam except raid. Yeah. Yeah, Lim said it himself. Garam is just so bad. Yeah, but Garam's not that hard to pull off. You just need to kill them before they kill you. Really easy to play. Nothing much you need to do. $30. So Garam still manages to hit the bottom of A tier, which is fine. I still think Garam is a bit better than Bari. Rue. Obviously a 10. Like, this is the god of dogfighting. I don't think anyone ever comes close to Rue. Maybe Carol, I don't know. But yeah, Rue just feels impossible to dogfight against. So it's automatically a 10. Outplay potential, it's trash. Like, there's nothing you can do. If your Rue does not win the dogfight, there's nothing you can do, because your weapon skill cannot chain. If the opponent just keeps on running, they cannot chain you no matter what they do. So it's a 5 for outplay potential. For versatility, now hear me out. I've been putting 5 on the versatility of a lot of units like Arabelle, Lapice, Garam, right? I put their versatility on 5 because their party buff only works on Earth. But Rue, for some reason, works outside of Earth teams. Like, Rue is just so strong that even if you just put her with a crit and a range buffer, even if those two units does not benefit from the Earth buff, Rue is so strong that she will carry that entire team. And for that reason, I'll give her a slightly higher score in terms of versatility. I'll give her a 6 actually. Because unlike Arabelle, for example, you put Arabelle outside the Monodark, right? Arabelle will be literal garbage. And Arabelle, I mean, she's not going to be that garbage, but her strength is not going to be enough to compensate for how weak she makes your entire team is. But in for Rue, like, she's just that strong that if you want to use her, yeah, just use her. Even if she makes your the other heroes on your team weaker, she's just that strong. For stat on reliance, I think Rue obviously needs a lot of stats. Not as much as other dogfighters, since I think it's a 7. Wait, let's compare them with others. Nah, I think 6 is fair. If you don't have stats as Rue, you can't win, because see here, her outplay potential is really bad. So it's just, I outstat you or I die. It's just how Rue works. For ease of execution, man, do I really need to explain this? You just press your dash and then hold your attack, and then that's it. And your weapon skill, you don't even need to target it unless you're playing against Aura or Noxia, right? You just press the weapon skill, even if you're playing, even if your opponent's 50 miles away, the weapon skill will still target them. So there's really yeah, there's really no way to mess up with Rue. $37. A+, right? I think it's fair. You need to hit dash. Well, where's the difficulty in hitting dash? You just press the button and you win. Plitvice. Yep, Plitvice is going to be pretty hard to rate because Plitvice... No, I don't think Bari is a bad hero, but just look at the criteria. Let's go back to Bari. So you can, I'll just explain it, right? 6 in raw power, it's fair. Like, she can't win dogfight against most heroes. 7 in outplay potential, it's actually a bit generous. I think it's because of her very low weapon skill cooldown. And versatility, I gave her a 3. This is because there's, Bari does not work on a lot of team comps. She needs an earth hero to activate her special ability, which already limits her to at least having one earth unit with her. And most of the earth units does not work well with Bari at all, so you need Mayreel specifically if you want to make her work. And her party buff is skill damage, which is not good against a lot of heroes. So the only reason why Bari is here and not here is because her versatility is really bad. It just pulled her down on the ranks a lot. But I don't think Bari is that bad of a unit, don't get me wrong. I think Bari is really playable as long as you play on the right comp. Moving back to Plitvice, so raw power, I think Plitvice is not that strong. Most of her dogfight ability relies on her luck. If she gets a lot of negations, then she's gonna win. If not, and even her, if I'm not mistaken, she even gets bonus damage on RNG, right? So there's some percentage of chance that she'll get bonus damage and bonus healing. So even that is RNG. Outplay potential, there's no, Plitvice is trash. Like, it's not outplay potential, it's outluck potential. If you manage to negate the opponent's weapon skill, then you're gonna win, but otherwise, no. How do we even gauge luck? I think 7 is fair. And her chain skill doesn't even guarantee to chain in 3 hits. You can only get 3 hits because of her very slow chain skill. And even so, it's not even guaranteed to chain. My mic is static again. Hold on, let me fix it. Hello? Is it fixed now? Hello, hello, hello. Mic test. Max mic. Is it fine now? Is it still static? Hold on a sec. Hello, hello. Hello. How is it now? Is it still? Is it fixed? Now good. All right. Then let's continue. Fire buff 5. Stat on reliance. I think Plitvice relies a lot on stats. Yep. Like, Plitvice is also one button unit most of the time. If you don't win the dogfight, Plitvice is pretty bad. I'll give her a 6 here. I think she needs quite a lot of stats. And for ease of execution, her normal attacks are not as bad as they used to, but it's still pretty bad. Yeah. I think Plitvice is Not that. I think it's a 7. And because of her because of her bad normal attack animation, I'll rate her lower as than most of the heroes. When Plit is lucky, all rating is 10. Wait, is my voice too soft now? I think this is fair for Plitvice. $31. What's that? 8 tier? Yeah, fair. Maybe around here. Yeah, and the problem with Plitvice's weapon skill is it doesn't guarantee to chain in 3 hits. They need to stand on one of your weapon skills for a little bit of time if you want to chain them in 3. It's really hard to play Plitvice unless you're lucky. I will edit this stream a bit and post it as a separate video, but of course I'm going to cut a lot of the parts so the video is shorter. Yeah, this stream is not going to be archived, but I am going to post a video, an edited version of the stream sometime later if you want to rewatch it. Tinia. Raw power, pretty bad. It's below average. I'll give it a 6. Wait, does anyone in the chat actually use Tinia? Because I used Tinia only once. I tried playing her on Mayreel and Oghma team, and she's really bad. Like almost every dogfight, I just lost. And against Tinia, I fought Ray's Tinia a little bit. I think his Tinia is pretty good because I just assume that his Tinia is pretty decent because his other heroes are good. But still, his Tinia lost dogfight against my Arabelle, so I don't think I can rate Tinia any higher than this. Outplay potential, I don't think Tinia has any outplay potential. See, you just dogfight with Tinia, and if she lost a dogfight, there's nothing you can do. And her weapon skill can't even chain. I think Tinia is really bad in terms of outplay potential. Yeah, right. When I'm playing Mono Water, sometimes the opponent plays Tinia and they still lose against Garam. They can't even dogfight Garam. It's so bad. Now for versatility, it's a range unit, but I think it's similar to Lupina, right? You can put her in. You can technically replace Kamael or Lina with Tinia, but the team is going to be so weak. Still a range party buff, but since just because she's so weak, I'm not going to give her an 8 points in terms of versatility. Stat on reliance. You need to outstat the opponent. There's no other way to win as Tinia. Yeah, it's really bad, and she needs since her base stats are weaker than most units, she needs a lot more stats than someone like Lina if you want to win. And for ease of execution, Tinia is there's nothing much to her kit than just pressing the dodge button and spamming normal attacks. I think this is a valid opinion, but if usability was a category, wouldn't the tier list be more stable? What do you mean by usability? You mean like if you compare her against the meta? Like how she performs in the current meta? Is that what you mean by usability? Yeah, I've thought of that as well, and I just usually if the unit can't be used, I just reduce the points on the versatility. Yeah, because that's going to put too many criteria. I think it's... Tinia is very easy to play. If you have the stats, you can win with Tinia. If you don't, you cannot win with Tinia. That's just how it goes. $29. Yeah, Tinia is going to be our second hero on the B tier. I think she deserves it. I think Bari is better than Tinia. So actually guys, you're overrating the Earth units. The Earth meta is not as prevalent as it was before. Since the release of Tinia, the Earth units are seeing far less use than before. Veronica. Now, in terms of raw power, I don't think Veronica deals that much damage. But have you seen how tanky Veronica is with the Little Princess merch? It's insane. It's very, very tanky. Like, I can chain it with Noxia and it still won't die. It's really strong. I think in the right comp, if you consider, if you put her in the right comp, her raw power is going to be quite high. But I'm not gonna rate it as high as someone like FP or Beth, right? Now for outplay potential, Veronica is just, her weapon skill targeting is kind of similar to Rue. As long as you see the opponent in your screen, you can hit them with your weapon skill. And you need to put her on a weapon skill with gen speed comp. I think Veronica's outplay potential, she can actually outplay a lot of heroes if she's on the right comp. I think 7 is fair here. Veronica hit Lina die fast. Yeah, I'm really having a hard time fighting Veronica if they have good stats. On a weapon skill with gen speed comp, Veronica is just really, really strong. Now in terms of versatility, there's only really one specific comp that Veronica works at. You can change the heroes, but the party buffs should be the same. So one tanky party buff, weapon skill with gen speed, and Veronica. Yeah, so in that case, I'm giving her a 6. It's a bit more versatile than the mono element comps, but still, it's not that good. Now stat on reliance, just as I said, Veronica needs a lot of stats in order to do the what she's actually doing. If Veronica does not have a lot of stats, she just loses dogfight against a lot of units, since skill damage, party buff, and weapon skill with gen speed are not going to benefit her normal attacking. So, and also if she does not have enough toughness, she's just gonna die before she can chain. I think Veronica needs a lot of stats to work, but not as much as the true dogfight unit. So I'll just give Veronica 6. And for ease of execution, Veronica is actually quite easy to play. I'll give her an 8. Like, you just run away, right, and try to dodge. Then as long when you have your weapon skill up, you just press the button. As long as you can see the opponent, it will hit. $34. Not quite A+ tier. Somewhere around here. I think this is fair for Veronica. Like, there's not she's really limited in terms of team comps that you can play her in, but yeah, on the right comp she works really, really well. But you do need a lot of stats to make her work. Now Vishuvac. Are there still fire mains in the chat? Because I'm having a really hard time judging Vishuvac's raw power. Like, sometimes when I face Vishuvac, I'll just explode in a matter of seconds. But sometimes Vishuvac does not deal a lot of damage. I don't feel like Vishuvac deals enough sometimes, but I don't know. What do you guys think? What should we rate Vishuvac's raw power? It's really hard for me to rate it, honestly, because it differs. Like, against some players, your Vishuvac just feels like it deals an absurd amount of damage. 7. No, I'm not including her volcanic core yet. This is just the her default exclusive weapon. 7 is fair. Yeah, sure. I think 7 is fair. I agree. Her damage is based on luck too. Like if you get lucky, she deals quite a lot of damage. Outplay potential. I think she deserves a 9. No, actually no. The thing is, even if she can dodge a lot of weapon skills, the problem with Vishuvac, right, with her volcanic horns is its cooldown is really long for a 2-hit chain. It's even slower than Marina's skill. If her weapon skill has a just a little bit faster weapon skill with gen speed, I'd say I'd rate her outplay potential a bit higher than this. Yeah, but because of that very slow weapon skill with gen speed, there are a lot of opportunities where you can punish her. Like for example, you're playing Marina against Vishuvac, right? You win the dogfight, so you don't need to use your weapon skill at all in order to beat the Vishuvac. So what you do is, because you get your weapon skill first, you just hold the weapon skill. And the Vishuvac can't really use her weapon skill as long as you don't use yours yet, because she needs to dodge it first. So there's no way for Vishuvac to win if the Marina knows what she's doing, right? Yeah, so that's just the main problem I have with Vishuvac. I think her weapon skill cooldown is too long. Otherwise, I'll rate her outplay potential higher. For versatility, HP is really good. It's a universal party buff, but because of her special ability, she just performs the best in monofire comps, I think. So I think 7 is a fair score for versatility. And there's also Solaris Vishuvac if we're considering that. Some comps prefer to run Vishuvac with Solaris instead of her exclusive weapon. Now for stat unreliance, I don't think Vishuvac needs a lot of stats. I'm playing monofire on a account with a little bit weaker stats compared to what I'm used to play, but I'm still able to win with Vishuvac very consistently, even with even the stats are subpar. So I don't think Vishuvac needs a lot of stats to work. I think I'm giving her an 8 here. She does not need that much stats. Now, ease of execution, Vishuvac's gameplay really relies on dodging the opponent's skills with your dash. And also, her weapon skill is quite easy to bait into the wall, right? So if you want to use her optimally, you need to keep all those things in mind, which makes Vishuvac not that easy to play. I think, what did I rate Noxia? I think she deserves the same rating as Noxia. Is it 7? Yeah, 7. I think Vishuvac deserves a 7 in ease of execution. She's not that hard to play, but she's a little bit hard to master. Wow, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7. 37, A+, I think. It's a well-deserved A+. You guys agree? Vishuvac deserves the A+? I think she does. I think Vishuvac is pretty good. Alright, nice. Now Scintilla. This unit's raw power is actually insane. I might give this a 10. Who disagrees with me when I say I'm giving Scintilla's raw power a 10? It's a 10 or a 9. Yeah, maybe 9 is more fair, since it gets countered by Earth Necklace, right? So there's a counterplay. Yeah, I think 9 is fair. True. But still really strong. Now for outplay potential, she does have a dash. And partner with her very low weapon skill cooldown and her very high raw power, I think it's fair to give Scintilla a 9 here on outplay potential. I think Scintilla is really strong. Scintilla. Yeah, Scintilla has a defense debuff, fire defense debuff. So she kinda gets countered by Earth Necklace a little bit. Yeah, fire resist down. Now for versatility, it's an 8. Same as the strong melee buffers, I think Scintilla deserves an 8 on terms of versatility. Now for stat on reliance, I think Scintilla needs a little bit of stats to work, a little bit more than Vishuvac. Now if we rated Vishuvac 8, I think Scintilla deserves a 6 or a 7. I think Scintilla needs... No, but the fact that she can just win on chain skill, right? Because I don't think Scintilla deserves the 6, even if her raw power will decrease significantly with lower stats. Just the fact that you can easily chain the opponent while dodging their own skills is just warrants a 7 in terms of stat on reliance. I don't think Scintilla needs that much stats. Yeah, 7. I think 7 is fair. And ease of execution, I don't think Scintilla is that hard to play. Though you need to time her dash perfectly if you want to dodge the weapon skills, so that's that. But other than that, I don't think Scintilla is harder to play than Vish. I think Vish is harder to play, so giving her the same score as Vish here is not fair. I think Scintilla is deserves an 8 here. 41. Actually S tier. Wow, we haven't had an S tier unit in a while. 7, 9 brunch? Really? Do you think Scintilla is that easy to play? Just spam first attack like FP. Well, 9 or 8, it's still the same. She'll still be an S tier. Yeah. Oh, now we have the final boss. Do we even have to do we even have to analyze this unit? Okay, to be fair, let's analyze Arena. We're just talking about Arena here, right? Arena. Raw power, obviously 10. Like, her kit is very, very overloaded. Like, she has a defense buff, she has a defense buff on chain, she has an attack buff on her exclusive weapon. It's really insane. Her raw power is obviously 10, there's no denying that. Now, in terms of update potential, Arena's weapon skill is really hard to chain with. It's kind of similar to Oghma. If the opponent does not sit on the skill, you will not chain. So what you have to do is just to hold your weapon skill and pressure with normal attack. Since you have a 10 rating in raw power, right? You don't even need to use your weapon skill to outplay. Yeah. But if the Arena knows how to hold the weapon skill, actually, I don't think... I think her outplay potential is pretty high if the opponent knows what they're doing. You can really do a lot of things with Arena, right? You can spam your normal attacks over walls. You can just hold your weapon skill if you want to pressure with normal attacks. I think Arena deserves a 7 in outplay potential. Like, the only reason why it's not that high is because her weapon skill cannot really chain on its own. Like, you need to make the opponent sit on your weapon skill in order to chain with it. So I think I'm giving it a 7. Now for versatility, I'm also giving it a 10. You can put Arena on range crit and Arena will deal a bunch of damage. You can put her on melee crit and Arena will deal a lot of damage. You can put her on triple tank with Noxia and Priscilla and she will be insanely hard to kill. I think Arena deserves a 10 in versatility. Like, if I put Noxia, if I give Noxia a 10, I think Arena deserves a 10 as well. Or if not 10, at least a 9, right? 10 or 9. 8 cause ailment advantage. No, I think Arena deserves at least a 9 on versatility. Like, there's not a lot of units that you can use on range and melee comps. There's not a lot of units in the game that can perform well on melee and range comps. Yeah, I think it deserves a 10. Now for stat on reliance, Arena... Does Arena need a lot of stats to work? No, I'm not just gonna put 10 on everything, man. Stat on reliance. How much stats do you need on Arena? I think Arena needs a little bit of stats, but not that much because her kit, I think 8 is fine. I think 8 is fine. Like, she can do what she does even without that much stats. But if Irina does have a lot of stats, there's just no way to beat her. She's just unkillable. Like, even with Noxia, if the Irina outstats my Noxia, I still die. I need to outplay the Irina in order to win, and I'm using one of her hardest counters, right? I don't think Irina needs a lot of stats to win. Yeah, that's right. Even though she needs a lot of stats, you can do well with her, even just being an average player. And ease of execution, I think I'll give her a 9. She does have some animation cancels, but to be honest, you don't really need to do that in order to succeed with Irina. Just press all of your buttons, right, and you will win. She's just that insane. She's that strong. $44. Oh. Not quite SS. Do you want to buff her a little bit more so she can get into the SS tier? Close your eyes, start spamming. Yeah, let's just put 10 in her ease of execution. You're right. Yep. Well, that makes her SS tier. That just makes her SS tier then. Yeah, we need at least one SS, and I think Irina is the only one that deserves that. I don't think anyone else in the Arena roster right now deserves the SS tier other than Irina. Mark 2. Mark 2's raw power is... How do you rate this? I'm not really familiar with Mark 2. Anyone use Mark 2 a lot? I think after the buffs, her raw power really increased a lot. 8? I think 8, right? Yeah, no, because I rated Arabelle 7. And MK2 is definitely stronger than Arabelle in terms of raw power. Oh, Ninja Dede says 9. I'm gonna believe Ninja Dede here. He uses MK2 a lot. I think with wall bonk, MK2 deserves a 9 if you know how to do the wall bonk technique. Yeah, the wall bump is so busted. True. Like, I think she's an 8, but if you do the wall bump, it might be a 9. And her outplay potential is also quite high. Wall bump is a special feature. Yeah, it is. When I use MK2, I don't want to wall bump to do the wall bump that much because I'm not really used to one button gameplay. Like, I want to dodge, right? And if I do that, I just tank all of their attacks, so I'm not used to it, so I'm not using it a lot. She's not the tankiest. No, she's actually pretty tanky for what she does. Versatility, a crit buffer. I think it's an 8. Or is it? How versatile is MK2? What comes to, do you see MK2 at?
Utterly alone. I'm a misfit everywhere.
Wait. Seven. Yeah, well, like, what comps do you use to maximize MK2's potential? I think she performs best in like 1 tank and 2 range, right? Range crit and 1 tank. Yeah, I think 7 is fine. And stat on reliance, range crit with def, yeah, that's what I think too. Arena range crit, right? Now, since she has movement speed and she can actually dodge, I think she does not need as much stats as the other 1 button units. So I'll give her 7 stat on reliance, and she's really easy to play. Unless you want to do the wall bonk consistently, she's really easy to play. So I'll just give her an 8 in ease of execution. The reason why I don't use MK2 a lot is because I find her really easy to play. And I think it's very boring to actually play her consistently on ladder. I prefer Noxia and Arabelle more. Yeah. 39. Just below S tier. Does MK2 deserve to be in S tier? What do you guys think? Should we promote her a little bit more so she can be on S tier? Or is A plus fine on top of the A plus? Yes. Promote her to S tier or A plus? A plus? S. A plus. Yes. A plus is fair. Yeah, I think A plus is fine for MK2. Yeah, I don't think MK2 is as oppressive as these units. I think it's fine to put her on A plus. Orca. Orca's raw power actually increased a little bit. I think Orca's raw power is a 7 or an 8. I think it's an 8. What do you guys think? I think it's at least an 8, right? Because I rated Arabelle 7, so I think Orca is definitely stronger than Arabelle with the debuff and the defense buff. I think it's at least an 8. And for outplay potential, she can actually zone with her... No. We're not talking about her normal attack animations in raw power. We're talking about her stats. Like, if you just stand there and tank all of her hits, how hard does she hit? I think it's 8. I think 8 is fair for raw power. Yeah. Now for outplay potential, I think Orca does have a lot of outplay potential. Her weapon skill has a very fast cooldown. You can just hold it and trade with the opponent's first weapon skill, and then chain them on their second before their second skill starts. I think her outplay potential is high. Maybe around the 7, or maybe an 8. Like, who do we compare this to? MK2 is 8. I think Orca deserves an 8 as well. Yeah. Now for versatility, it's a range buff. She can fit in a lot of comps. But Orca performs best in double defensive comps, like Oghma, Noxia, or something similar. So I don't think Orca is as versatile as the other ranged units. I'll just give her a 7 in versatility. I think she can be used in a lot of comps, but she's not gonna be as good as the others. Now stat on reliance, Orca does need a bit of stats to work. I think if you don't have stats, Orca is not that good. No, actually, I've been using Orca without any limit breaks on her weapon, and she can still one-shot a lot of units with her chain. I don't think Orca needs that much stats to work. As long as you make her tanky enough to survive until she can chain, I think she can work. She does not need as much stats. Because even though her dogfight capability is really high, she's not really a dogfight unit. She's a run and skill unit. And Orca's ease of execution, I don't think she's that hard to play. Yeah, I don't think she's that hard to play, but you need to learn how to trade your weapon skill with the opponent. So most of the time, using her weapon skill instantly as is after it's off cooldown is not a good idea. I think Orca is easy, but not that easy. I don't think Orca deserves a 7. 7 is for units like Noxia, right? Orca is definitely easier than Noxia. I think 8 is a fair score for ease of execution. Yeah, I think 8. It's not that hard to use, but not too easy either. 38 in the A plus, and maybe somewhere around there. Yeah, I think Orca is great. I think Orca is a great unit. Definitely underrated. The buffs are really good. We're almost done. Last row. Kana. Raw power, Kana is pretty meh. I think she's weaker than Orca. Her dogfight is not that good. Now for outplay potential, Base Knight requires you to put Kana in SS. No. No way. I'm not putting Kana in SS tier. Now outplay potential. How much outplay potential does Kana actually have? Like, it's a 3-hit weapon skill, right? That can hit you in 2 if you trade weapon skills with her. And she does have movement speed that you don't need to hit the opponent consistently in order to maintain. I think her outplay potential is quite high. Maybe an 8 or 9. 8 or 9. What do you guys think? Because I've used Mono Basic a few times on Prime's account, and I actually was able to beat a lot of dark teams with it. 9? 9. Yeah, maybe 9. I guess. Yeah, I guess 9 is fair. Now versatility is also a 5. Obviously, it's a basic party buff. No other team you can put her at except Mono Basic. Stat on reliance. Yeah, I don't need that much stats as Kana. Her weapon skill does a lot of damage by itself. I'll give this one an... Yeah, as long as you have enough toughness, I think it's fine. Maybe 7. She can win some dark units. Yeah, that's true. 7 or 8. What do you think? Stat on reliance. Is it an 8? No. Because I used Kana on Prime's account, and sometimes it doesn't deal enough damage, and sometimes just too squishy. I think she needs a little bit of stats, but not that much. So 7. Yep. And ease of execution, though she's a unit with high movement speed, the fact that you don't need to hit the opponent consistently to maintain her movement speed, and her weapon skill is very easy to hit. I don't think she's as hard as the other movement speed units. I think I'm going to give her the same rating as Lucy here. What did I rate Lucy? 7. Yeah, I think 7 is fair for Kana. You know, the fact that you don't need to hit the opponent to maintain her movement speed makes her pretty easy to play, in my opinion. I've played Kana a few times, and she's not that hard to play, to be honest. A lot easier than Eugene or Arabelle or Mayreel. 35. Just on A+. Yeah, that's right. There's only 2 seconds to get a chance to hit her with weapon skill. She's so easy to play. Like, there's no window to there's almost no window to hit her with, because her movement speed is that consistent. Yeah, I mostly put the elemental comes in 5. Who's next? Claude? This unit is bullshit, guys. I've played Claude a couple times on my account. I don't even have that. My stats aren't even that good, and Claude just 1 buttons everyone. Like Mayreel, Kamael, Claude just wins 1 button, easy. That's it. He's so Claude's so strong. He's so strong. But unfortunately, his outplay potential is quite bad. Her weapons, no, I mean his weapon skill is decent. I think Claude's weapon skill is decent. Though it requires around 3 skills to chain. But still, I think 7 is too high for Claude. I think it's 6. When you don't have enough stats, there's really nothing much you can do. I once chained an FP with Claude, and she still did not die from my chain. Yeah, there's his outlay potential is not that good. Now in terms of versatility, I think he's an 8. The same as the other range party buffers that are actually strong. Claude is really, really strong. For stat on reliance, I'll give this one a 5. I think, obviously, if you don't have stats, Claude is garbage. I fought a lot of Claudes that don't have a lot of stats. They just died in a few seconds. Ease of execution. Claude is really easy to play. His weapon skill is very easy to hit. The reason why I'm not giving him a 10 is because his normal attacks does not pass through walls. If his normal attacks can pass through walls, I'll give this one a 10. But since it doesn't, I'll only give it a 9. But still doesn't, Claude is still so easy to play. $38. Not actually, not S tier, but still really strong. Solid A plus unit. I think it's fair. SS for Claude? No, there's no way Claude is SS tier. There are plenty of ways to actually counterplay Claude. Like, I don't think I've ever lost to a Claude before. No, I lost once because his Claude won over my Claude in the dogfight. But Claude is very easy to outplay. I don't think he deserves the S tier. Hana. Now Hana's raw power, I don't think it's that strong. It's really strong, but not as strong as someone like Claude. Hana still loses dogfight to Claude. I don't even think it's 9. I think it's only an 8, right? It's just as strong as FP. Like, if Hana dogfights FP, it's an almost even match. I think Hana's raw power is only an 8. But outplay potential, with that immunity, it's really, really high. I think I'm going to give this a 9. Like, Hana is always almost guaranteed to at least tie, right? Unless the opponent is Earth and she just gets deleted with a few shots, then... Yeah, but I think Hana is really, really hard to play against. Now in terms of versatility, it's a really good melee crit buffer, so... I think it's deserving of an 8 as well. And for stat on reliance, I think Hana needs a lot of stats. Hana straight to SS? No. I've been playing Hana on Nens's Monowater account, right? His weapon is maxed out and all, but Hana does not perform as well as I see other people Hana's performing because his stats are not that good. So I think Hana needs a bit of quite a bit of stats in order to work, but not that much because you can actually consistently chain. I think it's a 7. No. The reason why I'm not I still think Hana needs a decent amount of stats. Like when I'm playing Hana with Marina and Garam, say it's a water crit buff, right? Sometimes I chain Arena and they still survive. She doesn't deal that much damage unless you have the stats. Yeah. Now ease of execution, Hana is... What? My mic static again? How easy it is to play Hana? I think she's quite easy to play. Her dashes are so long. I think it's an 8. Yep, 8. I agree. Alright, she just made it on S tier. To no one's surprise, I think Hana really deserved the S tier. Yeah, the thing is with Hana, if you don't use your skill instantly as it's off cooldown, you're going to lose. That's the issue with Hana. Whenever your skill is off cooldown, you need to use it immediately, or else you're going to get chained first. Chaos raw power is obviously 10. Like, the only unit that I can think can rival this unit in dogfight is Ru. I think they're about even. Static again. Let me try to fix it. Hold on. Hello, hello. How's it now? Is it fixed? Hello? Mic test, mic test. Is it fixed now? 3 hours, yeah, but it's almost over, I don't think. Still static? Come on, man. Hold on. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Is it fixed now? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. How's the audio now? Is it fixed? Alright, nice. Moving on. Carol. Again, with the outplay potential, with units that have a very low cooldown on their weapon skill, the outplay potential is really high because of the fact that she has a lot of raw power and she has the potential to just hold her weapon skill and just pressure with normal attacks. I think even as a one button unit, Carol has a lot of outplay potential. It's really hard to outplay Carol in my opinion. The mic gave up? Why? Now versatility is 8. You put Karen the same comps that you put Hannah on, so it's fair that she has the same versatility rating as Hannah. And for stat on reliance, Carol really needs a lot of stats to work. I think it's a 6. If you don't have stats on Carol, then just don't play Carol. And ease of execution, Carol is really easy to play. Very easy. She doesn't have a very good gap closer, but her stab, like the one that deals defense reduction, hits really far, so you don't really need to chase that much. I think Carol is a bit harder to play on maps with a lot of walls, but definitely a 10 rating if it's Shen City Ring or something similar. I think it's fair to give Carol an 8 on... Wait, no, 9. Yeah, I think Carol deserves a 9. The poke is so far, but because she does not have that good of a gap closer, I can't just put her on 10. I think 9 is fine. Oh, 40. Same rating as Hannah. Yeah, they function really similarly. Clara. How would you guys rate Clara's raw power? Nine? Is she that strong? Because what? Really? Brunch the Fireman says 8. 9? 9, 9. Yeah, I think 9. Is it? Yeah, because raw power, we're assuming you don't touch her attacks, right? Yeah. The thing is with Clara, once she uses her buff, you just run away and wait for her to wait for the buff to expire. Then you just dogfight her after that. But when we're talking about raw power, we're just imagining that the opponent just tanks all of the hits. And if they tank the full ammo of Clara that's actually buffed, it deals a lot of damage. So I think 9 is fair. For outplay potential, she does have quite a bit of movement speed. Her weapon skill is also a zoning weapon skill where it's very hard to hit, but it's useful to just hold it so the opponent won't be able to approach you since it has a very low cooldown. So I think Clara deserves a 7 or an 8 in terms of outplay potential. Maybe 8 because of her movement speed, I don't know, but her weapon skill is so bad. I think it's just 7. Ultimately, if Clara cannot kill the opponent with her normal attacks, you cannot win. I think it's only a 7. Yeah, because when I consider outplay when I talk about outplay potential, I considered how good the weapon skill is a lot. So if the weapon skill is really hard to chain with, I can't really rate it really high, even if she has a 20% movement speed boost. So versatility is an 8, similar to the range units. 8. Now stat and reliance, I think Clara needs a lot of stats. No stats, Clara is just junk. Like most of the one button units, right? Stats are nothing. But Lilith and SS tier? No way. Lilith is not that good. And Clara is really easy to use. Should I give Clara a 9? I think Clara is really easy to use. Yeah, you only dogfight Clara when she has no buff. 9? Yeah, I agree. Clara is really easy to play. Barely S tier. Around here. Yeah, her weapon skill is pretty bad. That's why I can't rate her outlay potential as high, even if she has a movement speed buff. I don't actually see Parvati. I saw Parvati a few times. If I'm going to guess, I think she's at least A tier. But since I don't really see her that much, I can't give her a solid rating. So I'm just gonna put her in. Who the fuck is that guy? Lina inverse. Definitely a 10 in raw power. Lina's normal attacks are insane, and she also has a defensive buff, so you can't even dogfight her. And her outplay potential. Unfortunately, Lina's weapon skill is actually pretty bad, in my opinion. It's good on Colosseum, but in Arena, it's not what you want her to have. It's not a weapon skill you want Lina to have. If Lina has a weapon skill similar to Clara, it would be so broken, it's insane. But thankfully, Lina's weapon skill is not that good. So for outplay potential, I think it's just like someone like Clara. Just kill them with normal attacks if they don't die. That's it. Static again. Oh my. Hold on. Hello. Hello. Testing. I'm back. Is it good now? Alright, nice. So again, for her outplay potential, I don't want to put her that high. I think her outplay potential is 6. Yeah, nothing much to do with Lina. Just one button limit. If they don't die, you'll die. Versatility is 8. Stat and reliance, I think Lina needs a lot of stats. Maybe 6. Just like Clara. No, I think Lina does not need as much stats as Clara because she has a defense buff. I think Lina is more forgiving in terms of stats. Maybe a 7. And ease of execution, come on, guys. It's Lina inverse. It's definitely a 10. Will anyone object that Lina's ease of execution is 10? Or do you all agree that Lina is that easy to use that I just put 10 on ease of execution? 10? 10? Yup, 10. $41 S tier. Easy S tier. Let's put her higher than Noxia. 11. Oh, guys, we're almost done. Let's just put this guy here. What the heck uses Gory anyway? Priscilla. I think her raw power is only her raw power is only 7. Seriously, I can dogfight Priscilla with Arabelle. Sometimes. Priscilla is not that good in dogfighting, in my opinion. But her weapon skill is really strong because it's on such a short cooldown. It's on the same cooldown as Noxia's weapon skill and it's impossible to dodge. No, I'm just going to clarify, right? If I put someone in this tier, it doesn't mean the unit is bad. It just means the unit is rarely used that I cannot really rate them accurately. This does not mean that Go is bad. If I'm going to guess Go's ranking, he would probably be around the bottom of A tier or on the top of B tier. But since I don't really use Gory that much, I'm not going to rate him. I don't see him and I don't use him. Guaranteed 2 ticks. Yeah, unless you have a movement speed buff. I think if you're using Lapice, you can actually dodge Priscilla's weapon skill more effectively. But still, I think her outplay potential is really high. Priscilla is really good. Versatility, shield buff is it's pretty meh actually. If you use it outside of triple tank, like the shield just melts so quickly, so I don't think she's that versatile of a unit. Though she's definitely her party buff still universal, so I think 7 for versatility is fair for Priscilla. Yeah, Priscilla chains with 3 weapon skills most of the time. For stat on reliance, I think does Priscilla need a lot of stats? Nope. Yeah, I don't think Priscilla needs a lot of stats either. Probably a 7 here. Really? Yeah, I haven't used Priscilla that much. Even ever since her release banner ended, I haven't used Priscilla. And she's pretty easy to use. I think I'll give an 8 here. Or a 9. I don't think Priscilla is that hard to use. Just like Veronica's weapon skill, just press the skill and it will get it's guaranteed to hit. No stats, Priscilla dies too fast. Yeah, that's true. That's why I gave her a 7 here on stats initially. I think 7 is fair actually for stats. Stat reliance. $38. So it doesn't matter either way, she's still going on the A+ tier. Somewhere on top, maybe around here. The one Tori, the reason why Eugene is this low is because she's really hard to use. Like, I'm rating this based on these criteria, right? So if the unit is hard to use, the ease of execution will be scored low. So units like Arabelle and Eugene, even if they can perform, they can actually beat a lot of these units in the A+ tier. They're in the A tier because not a lot of players can use them optimally. Zelos. I really like this unit. When I first played Zelos, I had a lot of fun with him, though he's really map dependent. He's trash if the map doesn't have a lot of balls that he can abuse. Raw power, Zelos is actually really bad. I'm giving him a 6. He's actually really weak. Like, who else did we give a 6 on raw power? It's Tinia, yeah. Same level as Tinia. Maybe even weaker, I don't know. But I think 6 is fair. Outplay potential, Celos has a very, very high outplay potential. But it's map dependent. If the map is something like Ancient Ruins or Closed Classroom, Celos is literally untouchable. I think for outplay potential, Celos deserves an 8. Yeah, he's really good, but if he works on a lot of maps, I will make this rating higher. But since he's really map dependent, I'll give him an 8. And for versatility, wait, what did I rate Veronica actually? Or Yuze? 6? Yeah, I think 6 is fair too for Celos. Not a lot of team comps you can play him at, and not a lot of maps that you can play him at. Yes, classy. Your team comp is decent in story. It's really good. You only really need FP. FP can solo carry the story until the latest stages. Zelos needs a bit of stats. If you don't have stats on Zelos, he will not deal enough damage. I'll give this one a 7. And for ease of execution, I think it's 7 as well. He's not the hardest, but not really the easiest as well. You need to time your dashes perfectly if you want to use his kit optimally. I don't think it's an 8. I think 7 is fair. Wait. $34. Barely made it on S tier, on A+ tier I mean, but I think it's fine. I think Zelos on A tier is fine. He's not as good as these units, and he's very map dependent, and yeah, not much stats. Really fun to use though. There's a if we add criteria where we rate the hero higher if they're fun to use, Zelos will be up there on the top. Zelos is really fun to play in my opinion. Now lastly we have our final unit, which is Ara. I think Ara, let's compare her with Noxia, because in my opinion Ara is just a water Noxia. So let's take these. Oh. Copy. And paste it here. I think Ara has more raw power than Noxia, honestly. She has more stats, she deals more damage, and she's tankier. Outplay potential is also 10. I think Ara is more cancerous than Noxia. Ara is really, really strong. Like, it's more annoying to deal with Ara than Noxia, honestly. And for versatility, it's defensive. It's defense. So, you can put Ara on every single comp that you put Noxia on, and she will perform just as good as Noxia does. Now for stat on reliance, I'm not really sure. I haven't faced a lot of Aras, but I am using her a lot in on Lense's account. Lense doesn't have that much stats, but I'm destroying people left and right with this unit. I don't think Ara needs a lot of stats. I might probably bump this up to a 9, honestly. Oh yeah, that's true. Versatility drops to 8 because you can only use her on range. That's true, I forgot. You're correct. Yeah, I think her versatility is going to drop. Stat reliance, I don't think she's as stat reliant as Noxia. I think 9 is fair. Very, very free to play friendly unit. And as for ease of execution, I think it's fair to just give her the same score as Noxia. $42. Yeah, so I'm going to I'm going to explain why I think I'm going to compare Ara and Noxia's playstyles. So Ara is actually, it's easier to lure the opponent into Ara's summon, because unlike Noxia, if you summon with Ara, you can actually dash and instantly cancel the summon animation. So if your opponent is about to have their weapon skill, right, you just summon and then immediately dash, and then you don't need to stand in place. You can just leave the summon there. Well, Noxia, you can't actually do that with Noxia. When you summon with Noxia, you're going to be forced to stay in place, like for about 0.5 seconds as you summon the spirit. It's easier for Ara to bait the opponent's weapon skills into your summon, and also you have two, so it's easier to run around with your summons with Ara. It's harder for the opponent to find an opening where they can actually target you. But the thing is, with the stationary summons, with the summon that does not move, right? Once you misplace it, it's just there. The opponent can just run on the other side of the map, and you don't have your summon anymore. That's only Noxia's advantage against Ara. With Ara, it's really important. You really need to be mindful of where you put your tentacles, because if you put it in the wrong place, the opponent can just move away, and it will not get any value. And Ara's game plan also relies on her chain skill, right? So if the opponent runs away, you need to chase the opponent before they get the weapon skill, because Ara takes 3 skills to chain. So for example, you're fighting against a Marina, right? And then you summon, let's say, on the left side of the map. Marina runs to the right side. Now you need to chase her. If you chase her, you don't have your summon anymore. If you don't chase, Marina will just wait until she has her weapon skill and trade skills with you, and you will lose because Marina will chain you in 2 skills and you need 3 skills to chain. Yeah, so with Ara, you need to be mindful of where you put your summon. Yeah, and also Ara's summons is a lot squishier than Noxia's. I think this is fair. 42. Definitely S tier. I think Ara is stronger than Noxia in general, in my opinion. She's just less versatile, but on team comps where Ara can work, Ara is stronger than Noxia. Yeah, so that's basically it. This is our entire tier list. I think max limit breaking your exclusive weapons gives stats quicker than increasing collections. You increase collections once your weapons are all maxed out. Yeah, so basically this is our tier list. Arena is the only one in SS tier. I think this is fair. This stream is not going to be this stream archive is not gonna be public, but I'm going to edit this video and post a better version, an edited version. No, this is not bottom tier. It's just, who the heck is this? Like, I don't have enough experience using these heroes and going against these heroes, so I can't accurately rate them, rate their strengths. Like, for example, Parvati, right? Based on what I've seen about Parvati, I predict she's going to be somewhere around A tier. But since I haven't seen Parvati that much, and I haven't used Parvati myself either, I can't really rate Parvati because it will just be inaccurate. I don't have enough experience to accurately judge where Parvati should be. Yeah, but I'm not saying these units are bad. I'm not saying these units are bottom tier. I think some of these units are actually pretty decent and usable. Are you gonna include each character review? Yeah, probably. Yep, so that's it for the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed. It took more than 3 hours, I think. See ya.